attention to what's going on in this country, in this state, and in this city? We know one man who is. You got questions? He's got answers. This is the Wells Report with Jon-David Wells on 660 AM. The Answer.
Our nation changed today. Welcome to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. The Supreme Court legalized same-sex marriage across the United States today in a closely divided ruling that will stand as a milestone in its 226-year history. The justices ruled 5-4 that states cannot deny gay men and lesbians the same marriage rights enjoyed for thousands of years by opposite-sex couples. Within days, if not hours, the decision is expected to trigger same-sex marriages in the states that still ban the practice. They ask for equal dignity in the eyes of the law, said Justice Anthony Kennedy in his 28-page ruling. The Constitution grants them that right. Joining us right now with his viewpoints on it, or actually joining us in a few minutes, will be former senator from the state of Pennsylvania and presidential candidate for 2016, Rick Santorum. He will be joining us in just a little bit. And we ask your participation in this broadcast as well. 866-660-5759 is our telephone number, 866-660-5759. What do you think about this ruling? What are your thoughts on it? It is a polarizing decision. There is no doubt about it. Our question is basically, are you happy? Are you sad? Are you angry? And why? 866-660-5759. There were a lot of very serious statements made today, all of them historic. I have read the opinion and the dissents, and I've got some excerpts of all of those. I just saw a picture on Fox News. Oh, is that CNN? I just saw a picture of the White House in rainbow colors.
It was Fox News.
Yeah. Okay. Pardon me. I'm sorry. What did you? Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of celebration in the land. The celebration, by the way, was referenced in dissent by Chief Justice John Roberts. And he said something that was very poignant that I will share with you a little bit later on. Again, join us, 866-660-5759. In a close decision, a close ruling, the Supreme Court legalized same-sex marriage and ended debate across the land regarding this practice. 866-660-5759. Let me get to Mike in Moody. Mike, thanks very much for joining us. Welcome to the Wells Report.
Hey, JD, I'm just curious if anybody up there is thinking about the laws of unintended consequences.
That is the first thing I thought about. I wonder where that's going to take us. What do you think?
Well, in their last legislative session this morning, our new High Court of Noble Gestures and Good Intentions, like I said, made gay marriage law of the land.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure that they really intended to be all-inclusive. And they want to also allow plural marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And for those animal lovers who want to marry their pets, huh?
Yeah, well, that was addressed in many of the dissents, and we'll be getting to that a little bit later on this evening.
Okay, well, I told the guy this morning I was going to marry my dog so I could claim her and her pups as dependents. They told me Bell County would never issue me a marriage license, but it has come to my attention from another source that common law marriage has always been recognized as between a man and a woman.
Uh-huh.
Well, you know they intended for these new gay marriage laws to apply to common law, too. So I don't need that marriage license. I'm just going to claim Camo and those 4 pups on my tax return next year and see if I can get me some of those earned income tax credits like the illegal aliens are going to get. What do you think?
You know, Mike, I would have said before I would have laughed with you because I knew you were joshing, but I don't know. You may have an actual shot of making that work.
I'm going to do it. You think I'm kidding?
No, I've known you long enough to know that you don't kid when you get that tone in your voice. I know what you're talking about.
I'm going to do it. I mean, this is not any crazier than any other crap I've heard the last 2 days.
Mike, thanks very much for your thoughts. Appreciate it. Thank you for getting us started so well. 866-660-5759. Same-sex marriage is the law of the land. What are your thoughts? Are you happy? You sad? You angry? 866-660-5759. Tom in Dallas. Welcome to the Wells Report. Hello.
How you doing?
I'm all right. How you doing?
I listen to you quite regular.
Well, thank you, sir.
My whole point to this whole thing is this. It's not constitutional. It's not civil rights. Because if you go from the beginning of mankind through the natural cycle of life, man and woman has populated this world. Homosexual man can't have a child. Homosexual woman, they can't have children. So it tells you right there that it's unnatural. So my whole point is that they have made a decision. They're not a race. They're not a country. They make a decision to be homosexual. And Bruce Jenner is the perfect example that that's the truth.
Thanks very much. I appreciate that. 866-660-5759 is our telephone number. Joining us now, the former senator from the state of Pennsylvania and presidential candidate for 2016, Rick Santorum. Sir, thanks very much for joining us tonight.
It is always an honor to be with you.
I cannot think of anybody more qualified to discuss this Supreme Court decision today. You know your way around Washington. You know your way around the Constitution. You're a historian. You are exactly the person to talk to about this. What are your thoughts, first off, on the decision? Give us the Santorum eye view.
Well, I mean, it's just gravely disappointing. This is a fundamental shift on really two fronts. One being the construction of what marriage is in this country and the nature of the family and what the purpose of marriage and the family is. I mean, we've been heading this way for a long time, but this is really sort of the I won't say the death knell, but I will say an exclamation point that marriage is no longer about children. Marriage is now about adults, and it's about what adults want, not about having and raising the family and providing and nurturing the next generation. That's what marriage was always centered on. It was the reason that every civilization raised up marriage as a sacred institution. It was because it was essential to the continuation of society. And now we've said it isn't anymore. It is about adults. It is about two, and I would argue there's nothing in the Supreme Court decision that will limit it to two. I think it'll be very clear that marriage will again change along the legal reasoning that was laid out in this court case. 12 years ago, when Lawrence versus Texas was decided, I made the comment that marriage would be the law of the land. We would change the definition of marriage within 10 years. And here we are 12 years later, and that has occurred. And because it is clear from the legal reasoning where the court was going, and the court isn't done yet. And that will be incredibly, there've been books out just in the last couple of years, actually one a couple months ago, by libertarian and ultra-liberal sociologists talking about the reason for the destruction of the middle of America, as some call the middle class. And all those studies have pointed to the same thing. Every one of them. And there's a liberal Harvard sociologist, a guy named Robert Putnam, just wrote a book on this a couple months ago. He said the principal reason for the destruction of hope and opportunity in America is the destruction of the nuclear family, is the breakdown of the family. And now we have cemented that. We have said that is that family is no. And for the first time in the history of our country, Jon-David, a majority of children born out of wedlock are born in homes where the father lives. And they simply aren't getting married. Why? Because marriage isn't about children anymore. And that's what this debate has been about. Now it is confirmed that the court says marriage is about people loving each other and it's not about anything else. That is a fundamental shift that is destructive of society, and it will, in fact, have consequences. The second thing is on the impact on people of faith. what the court basically said, and they said this in the Doma case, but they reiterated that the only reason you could be against gay marriage is because you hate gay people, and that there's no other legitimate reason. It's pure animus. That is the same rationale that was given in other cases dealing with other rights, including civil rights. And so, in a sense, what the court is saying is that that if you do not go along with this, you do so only because you're a hater. And of course, we don't tolerate hate in America. We don't tolerate institutions that preach hate, that teach hate, and that condone hate. And so, the impact on those people of faith who have biblical held views that this is against their beliefs. They believe it's not good for our society, and for the reasons I stated earlier, those will now be categorized as haters and bigots, and we will treat them accordingly. As you saw, Justice Alito during the argument asked the Solicitor General whether, if they found in favor of gay marriage, would in fact the government begin to systematically take away 501c3s or nonprofit status for organizations that didn't go along. And he said that's a very open question, and in fact, I think you're going to find that there will be a movement to do just that. So we now have a group of people in America who have biblically held worldviews who are now going to be treated as the equivalent of bigots, and by the law, by the government. And you'll say, well, that can't happen. Just wait.
I would have to agree. Rick Santorum is our guest, senator from Pennsylvania, a two-term senator, and then a presidential candidate in both 2012 and now 2016. We also laid on the table a completely different way of going about jurisprudence in the United States. There were a couple of justices that said, what's going to constrain the court from being able to parse language any way they want to on any other matter of law as they move forward? What are we gonna see here? You said that that the court was not done. You've been pressing it before. What do you see in the future?
I clearly polygamous or polyamorous marriages are next in line, and there's no legal rationale to limit marriage to just two people. I mean, marriage is as the justices said. I mean, it's a civil right, and so it's whoever you want to love.
Wow.
Again, going back to Lawrence versus Texas. I mean, that Lawrence versus Texas gave a consensual right to sexual activity of any kind, as long as it's consensual. Well, if that's the right upon which they built this decision. Well, they can't. There's no legal rationale in this decision that's going to limit marriage to just where marriage is now. It's going to change. And again, the impact of this on the family is going to be profound. And having said that, it's already been profound. I mean, we've already seen the impact, as I've talked about. And the other impact is just this court, is the Supreme Court just not recognizing that there are limits on their power. I mean, these last two decisions where the court just basically said, well, we're just going to ignore what the plain reading of the law is because we don't think the law works well, and we think the law should work.
Exactly.
I mean, so there really is a need to look at some way of constraining the power that's been given this court. And I've argued that, and you've heard me say this, is basic civics, that the court is one branch of government. It is an equal branch of government, not a superior one. And so when the court makes a ruling, that's all well and good, but it's the Congress can also, and the president can push back and say, the court, you're wrong. I've done that. I mean, on the partial birth abortion case, you may remember that President Bush signed was a law that was passed in the face of a Supreme Court decision that said it was unconstitutional. And we said to the court, you're wrong. And we laid out in the act and in the legislative history why they were wrong, and we went right back at them. And then we said, if you don't, and I even said on the floor, if you don't hold this to be constitutional, we'll pass another one because you're wrong.
We are here with Rick Santorum. He is joining us on 660 AM The Answer. He has more to say regarding the Supreme Court decision today that made same-sex marriage the law of the land. You are listening to the Wells Report. This is 660 AM The Answer. Back with more in just a moment.
Are you ready to experience Israel?
Every once in a while, an opportunity to do something truly special comes along. an opportunity for an unforgettable and timely expedition to the land of Israel. This year, be a part of the Stand with Israel tour. Spend 9 days this fall in the fascinating and dramatic land of Israel with Mike Gallagher and Dennis Prager. Enjoy first-class accommodations and meals in comfort and safety. Visit 660amtheanswer.com for all the details and to register now. That's 660amtheanswer.com.
For almost 2 decades, financial advisor and educator Rick Poston with Empowered Wealth Financial Services has provided peace of mind to thousands who see or hear him in the media or read his work. Rick has been chosen by Bloomberg Business Week magazine as one of the top 20 game-changing financial advisors in the country. A fan of Rick's profound teaching, Brian Tracy, world-renowned business leader, speaker, and best-selling author, has asked Rick to co-author his newest book entitled The Winning Way, where Rick will share with his fans some of the principles that allow Rick's clients to continue on their winning way. If you're looking to break away from that same old investment plan that has provided you with one too many disappointments, stay tuned to 660 AM The Answer every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock for the most educational hour on financial talk radio with Empowered Wealth Radio, live, or call 469-361-4020.
Hey everybody, Mark Davis from my friends at Good Feet. I've been proud for years to send you to the Good Feet locations in Plano and in Fort Worth. And now I'm really glad to tell you about the third Good Feet location, South Lake, Texas, right there, 2615 East South Lake Boulevard, a couple of blocks east of Town Square on South Lake Boulevard between Kimball and Nolan. Know what happens in there? The same great results you've always gotten in Plano and in Fort Worth. Real people taking care of real foot problems. Foot pain can spread. It can become leg pain, hip pain, back pain. Let's get you out of pain. At goodfeetdfw.com, learn about all the locations, brand new in South Lake. Plano, still on the corner of Coit and the Bush Turnpike in front of Central Market. Fort Worth, 1 block south of I-20 on Bryant Irvin. And brand new Good Feet in South Lake, 2615 East South Lake Boulevard, 2 blocks east of Town Square. It's Good Feet, getting people out of pain today. America's #1 arch support. Check them out at goodfeetdfw.com. That's goodfeetdfw.com, Plano, Fort Worth, and South Lake.
Our country was built upon the foundation of strong men and women who had a vision for what America should look like decades ahead. From the brave soldiers who battled for our freedom to the police and firemen who keep us safe here at home. These are the people who have built the foundation that can support America for years to come. Foundations are just as important for your home as those men and women are for our beautiful country. And that's why Alliance Foundation is here to help. At Alliance Foundation, they know just what your home needs. It may not be the cheapest quote out there, but it's definitely going to be the one that does the job right. Wouldn't you rather take the time to have it done right the first time and not have to go do it over again? Alliance Foundation knows that you don't put a Band-Aid on something that needs stitches. Alliance Foundation also wants to give all former and current military, as well as emergency servicemen, a 10% discount on all their jobs. So go online to AllianceFoundationRepairTexas.com. That's AllianceFoundationRepairTexas.com.
Hey, it's Mark Davis. Is there a snoring issue in your house? Are you on the receiving or the delivering end of that? Well, either way, some folks just aren't sleeping right. And some folks face a real health risk from sleep apnea. This was me. A lot of our health depends on the kind of night's sleep we get. So if you got the snoring issue and sleep apnea is the issue, there's the CPAP device, which just doesn't work for some folks. There's surgery, which is, well, surgery. And then there's SimpleSleepServices.com. Check them out, SimpleSleepServices.com. John Truitt and the gang with a magnificent oral appliance. I've got it. It works. It's not the mask. It's not surgery. It's awesome. I love it. You'll love them. And they're in Dallas and Fort Worth. So check them out at either location. Check them out online at SimpleSleepServices.com. Great people to work with. Stop dreaming about a snoring solution and a good night's sleep. If you don't want surgery and the CPAP thing just isn't working, 469-685-1700. 469-685-1700. SimpleSleepServices.com.
660 AM. The Answer. If it's important to you, it's on the Wells Report on 660 AM. The Answer.
The nation changed today. Same-sex marriage, the law of the land. Is it for better or for worse? 866-660-5759. Rick Santorum joins us here on the Wells Report, except we lost him. We will get him back in just a couple of seconds. Let me get to in Dallas, Texas. Aurora, welcome to the show. Hi. Hello, Aurora. Are you there? I'm sorry.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Actually, I was disappointed with the decision, but I know that God allows some things to happen for a reason, and that's my only consolation. Um, there may be a honeymoon tonight about the decision for some people, but I know that there will be some chaos probably that would happen also. It will be chaotic everywhere. But it's the privilege for the gay people. I know that my fear is that a lot of people, even if they're not gay, can really find a partner and get married for some benefits and or cohabitate or do some of their sexual desires to be fulfilled. That's the only thing that is scary. A girl who don't have a boyfriend may really find someone,
Yeah.
another girl.
Yep. Thanks very much, Aurora. I appreciate it. Joining us again is Rick Santorum. Sir, we were discussing off the air some of the intricacies of this particular event and this particular decision, and you were discussing how this fundamentally changes our nation, and that you had stood up against something like this before and expressed how it was wrong and here's why and so on. How do you see that happening? First of all, of course, it would require you to be elected president. So let's talk a little bit about how you would go
Well,
about something like that.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I mean, there are two issues here. I mean, the issue of religious freedom is front and center right now, and then whether there's going to be the will to actually fight for marriage going forward, fight for the natural definition of marriage, and attempt to try to restore marriage as an institution that focuses in on men and women coming together to have children and raising those children for the future of civilization, and that society, whether society wants to again value that above all other relationships. And I feel that what we're seeing, at least from the initial reaction, is we're seeing a lot of members of Congress and presidential candidates even talking about how it's sort of time to to get over this and focus on protecting our religious liberties, that the battle's lost. And I recall back in the early 70s when Roe versus Wade was decided, there was a lot of people saying the exact same thing, that the court has spoken. It's we're on the wrong side of history, and it's time to move on and focus on other things. And I can tell you, there's going to be tremendous pressure within the Republican Party, particularly among the donor class, to do just that. And we're going to wait and see whether people are going to be willing to stand up and fight. I've been very clear about my intention. And the way you fight is, as president, is you have to do what I've been doing here for the last 5-10 minutes, which is to articulate why this is so central and to a healthy country. And it's not about hate. It's not about not valuing other relationships. We can value other relationships, but we don't value those relationships as much as we do the ones that are essential for the future of the country. And that's an argument that, frankly, we really haven't had in America today. This whole process has been driven primarily by state and federal courts, not by decisions made by the American public.
Agreed.
And because of the bullying that's occurring, you're seeing most folks not even willing to make the argument that I've laid out. And we really haven't had this kind of discussion in America as to what the consequence to our country is of this decision.
Sir, I sincerely appreciate your time. How can people contribute to your cause and your presidential campaign?
It's ricksantorum.com, and I encourage people, if you want someone who's going to stand up and articulate a healthy world vision that is not in anger, not in condemnatory terms, but in terms of what's good and best for society, I really would appreciate your help, because this is going to be a long and tough battle, and there aren't going to be very many, I suspect, that are going to be willing to engage in it.
Rick Santorum, presidential candidate 2016, friend of the Wells Report and somebody that could certainly see a clear way through this. You are listening to the Wells Report.
The stock market is at record highs, but will it keep going up, or are we due for another major correction? The financial newspapers are reporting that record numbers of major investors are leaving the market. If you're worried about the roller coaster stock market, there are some alternative ways to grow your money and build a solid, predictable retirement. The team at Guardian Financial Management will show you how to grow your money and still sleep well at night. Tune in to Plain Talk, No Worries Financial Hour each Sunday at 7 a.m. on 660 AM. The Answer.
Dennis Gibbs, the boat guy, here with the Big Boat and Outdoor Show. It's boating time, folks, so don't forget to tune in to the only boating talk show on 660 AM The Answer every Saturday evening from 6 to 7 p.m. Brought to you by BoatSelect.com, the site with thousands of boats for sale, or list your boat for free on BoatSelect.com. I know you have questions about your boat or one you're buying. Email those questions to me at bigboatshow@yahoo.com.
Hey, everybody, Mark Davis from my friends at USMD Prostate Cancer Center. You know, cancer is challenging enough without having to head all over town for a test over here, a doctor's appointment over there, maybe something else across town, some other direction. At USMD Prostate Cancer Center, you're going to one place. And there's one website, 888prostate.com, one phone number, 1-888-PROSTATE, and one team of doctors, specialists, patient navigators, all committed to making sure that prostate cancer is put behind you so that you can live a long and healthy life. USMD Prostate Cancer Center, the message begins with testing. Every guy needs to get tested, started with that 40th birthday, and after that, clean test, see you next year. If there's something in there, maybe it's so teeny tiny we look at it for a while. It's active surveillance. Maybe it's cryotherapy time, robotic surgery time. They do it all at USMD Prostate Cancer Center, saving guys' lives one guy at a time. So guys, let's go. 1-888-PROSTATE or 888prostate.com. USMD Prostate Cancer Center, 1-888-PROSTATE or 888prostate.com.
Hi, I'm Tom Kidd, engineering graduate of Texas A&M and owner of Structured Foundation Repairs. Our number is 972-484-1200. Our motto is to do the right thing. In some respects, it's hard being the company that always does the right thing. But for our customers' sake, it's very important that we do. Being fully insured, as an example, costs us a lot of money, but it protects our customers. Having employees instead of day laborers is a huge responsibility, but our dedicated employees ensure that we do the best repairs we can. Managing a large office staff can be tedious, but they provide our customers a helpful voice when they need something urgent. Returning every phone call is time-consuming, but instills our customers with confidence that we will always be there when they need us. The Aggie Code of Honor states that Aggies don't lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those that do. That code was the principle our company was founded on, and it guides our daily operations. If this sounds like the kind of company you could trust to repair your foundation, call us today for a free evaluation at 972-484-1200 or click structuredfoundation.com.
Have you ever noticed that every time the subject of immigration comes up, the conversation just never seems to go anywhere? Our border remains porous, and we want a fence. But a fence, we're told from the people who live in gated communities, just won't work. And so the issue dies, and in a nutshell, nothing changes. Hey, this is Mike Gallagher. Most of you are familiar with my friend Ann Coulter and her no-holds-barred approach to the issues and challenges facing the country we all love. Well, she's at it again. And in Adios America, Ann is at her provocative best, trying to stop the left from turning our country into a third-world hellhole. But she's providing our nation the provocative conversation we need to have, and we need to have it now. Grab a copy of Ann's book and let's start that conversation today.
Adios, America. The left's plan to turn our kindled hell from Regnery Publishing and available at Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and bookstores everywhere.
660 AM. The Answer. Only for Texas. This is the Wells Report on 660 AM. The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Reports. My name is Jon-David Wells. So, the nation changed today. The Supreme Court legalized same-sex marriage for better or for worse, and why? 866-660-5759, 866-660-5759. Benjamin in Carrollton, Texas. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Wells Report.
Hello, sir. I just think that the decision, I'm kind of iffy on it, so I want to get your opinion on it, because the way I see it, I don't think marriage should be a government-recognized institution to begin with. I think it should be a religious practice and the churches can decide who they want to marry, and the government shouldn't be involved in all.
You know, as far as that goes, I can see what you're talking about. A courthouse marriage, a civil ceremony, a marriage with a civil ceremony, is certainly something that has predated same-sex marriage. And the churches may have wanted to fight that fight long before this, but they didn't do that. What I had said here along this entire debate was that the same people that enacted same-sex marriage in America, the lawyers, the politicians, the judges, would have the same purvey over a civil ceremony that would more or less do the exact same thing and leave the church out of it. My idea was render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, render unto the Lord's what is the Lord's, which I believe would have solved all of this. But that debate has been submerged, actually squashed by the Supreme Court ruling. All of that is over now.
Right, but was there actually no difference between a civil union and marriage? Because I've heard differences on both sides.
Well, you know, as in my vision of it, you know, a civil ceremony would have all the legal trappings of a church marriage, except the church. And
right.
And the thing about that is that those people who argued against that are probably, you know, not complicit certainly, but certainly aided the argument that we saw come to a close today. That's just my opinion on that. I think that if you had looked at what had been happening, which was judges setting aside church, religious freedom, everything you can imagine regarding the non-legal aspects of this, a civil ceremony to unite same-sex couples was just around the corner. To fight that, I think, was ill-advised. And so that's what should have happened in this, but we didn't choose that route. Therefore, the Supreme Court chose it for us. And when you listen to some of the dissents, when you listen to some of the things that were said about this decision, you're going to understand that indeed we totally screwed this up. This has been totally screwed up. There is no legal basis for this, according to 4 members of the Supreme Court. And when it comes right down to it, Benjamin, when it comes right down to it, 5 people changed the nation today, not based on their mission as Supreme Court justices. It's a bad day, just for that reason. See what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, okay. 866-660-5759. Jimmy in Haltom, Texas. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Wells Report.
Hey, Jon-David. One quick thing, and I'll hang up and let you talk. Hey, you remember years ago, gays just wanted to be accepted. They wanted to live a life, you know, without discrimination, not have to worry about walking down the street and getting beat up and stuff. And hell, we were all for that. I mean, there was no problem with that or anything. And then as soon as they got accepted, the first thing they did was went after the Boy Scouts and stuff. And it's like today ain't nothing. What is coming down the road, and what is gonna be put in place to protect us?
Well, I mean, when you say what is coming down the road, what are you talking about?
I don't feel that they're going to stop here with just gay marriage and stuff. I mean, you know, just like I said, it's just the past experience with these people and stuff.
Well, I mean, where could they?
The activist part of it.
What I'm trying to say is, where can they go?
Forcing churches to give marriage and stuff. I mean, and now that this has been declared legal by the Supreme Court, there isn't any baker anywhere in America now that's gonna be able to bake a cake that's not gonna have to be forced to bake a cake for them now.
Yeah, well, that is something that you have to keep in mind. There is no. You cannot say no to any of the aggrieved parts of society under any circumstances. You are either going to disassociate yourself from what would cause them to ask you for something, or you would comply. There won't be any disagreement. As we have seen already, this was before gay marriage was the law of the land. These people that had refused were actually subject to government mandated re-education, which takes us right back to the totalitarian days of the Soviet Union. That is exactly what happened. More of that will happen, I'm reasonably sure. Although the Supreme Court assures us that that won't happen. Well, how they could say that, I have no idea, because it's already happened. And no, those cases have not made it to the Supreme Court. And therefore, the people that have been damaged are damaged and must remain so until the Supreme Court says, maybe we got that wrong. But how long will that take, if ever? You know, there was an argument going out there saying, how is your marriage, talking about a man and woman marriage, you know, how is your marriage going to be damaged by what happens today? Well, if you happen to be married and you happen to be married in a religious fashion and you happen to take that all seriously and you happen to own a business, what you believe in your marriage, the basis for it, the reason you did it, could very well end up putting you in a position where you are now, like one couple is in Oregon, facing a $135,000 fine for not baking a cake. The law of unintended consequences, as was referenced earlier today on the Wells Report. 866-660-5759. Kevin in Dallas, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Wells Report. Hello.
Thanks. Jon-David, last time we spoke, you mentioned that you were a believer, and I would presume that many of your listeners, as well as I am, were believers. And we use Scripture to determine this being the wrong thing to do. And I want to encourage you, and I want to encourage others who believe, to take a look at the back of the book. Okay? God's a big boy. He can take it. A few justices on the Supreme Court, we're really lifting those guys up pretty high. God is on his throne, and this world burns to the ground. We lose this world. And when we look around and we see things that don't align with our beliefs, you know, yeah, it's discouraging. But read the back of the book. He wins. You know,
that's
and
true.
I think there's a lot of peace to take into that. And I think that there's a lot to be taken from that. And I also want to encourage the people who are standing up for those beliefs. I want to encourage them to do it with kindness. And regardless of where you or your friends, your social media or anything, whatever your network is, to approach it with as much kindness as you can. Don't close your eyes and plug your ears to the other side of the argument. Engage those people. Keep them a part of your lives so that you can influence them. I know so many people who aren't doing that. And, well, there it is.
All right, sir. Thanks very much for your time. I appreciate it. 866-660-5759. So the Supreme Court of the United States changed the nation today, for better or for worse, and why? Bev in Colleyville, thanks very much for joining us. Welcome to the Wells Report.
Hey, JD. Yes, we have, supposedly now we have to allow civil ceremonies. But will churches be forced to do religious ceremonies?
Well, they could be. We don't know that yet. That is going to be dependent on how things are handled by the local courts. So we don't know. It's certainly on the table.
A church, you know, could say, you know, we that's just not in the Bible. That's not how we believe, and you can go have a civil ceremony, but we can't do it here.
Well, you know, there have been people that are male-female couples that have had to deal with that, and that is certainly a legal precedent. Like I said, we don't know yet. We'll just have to see. By the way, there are churches that have said they have absolutely no problem with performing same-sex marriages, none at all. So we'll see. Let me get to Randy in Fort Worth. Thanks for joining us, Randy. Welcome to the Wells Report on 660 AM The Answer. Hello.
Thank you for having me. I've just been slightly confused about this whole Supreme Court deal with the fact that I thought they interpreted laws, and who actually wrote a law, and they're making it into a national law that all the states have to follow on this issue.
Actually, that was covered in the dissent by Chief Justice John Roberts today. That's what he said. It's one of the things that he said. For the first time in his nearly 10-year career as Chief Justice, he read his dissent from the bench for the first time. He said that the court had no right to intervene in what should have been a democratic debate by the people at the state level over same-sex marriage. He said, quote, "This court is not a legislature. Whether same-sex marriage is a good idea should be of no concern to us. Under the Constitution, judges have the power to say what the law is, not what it should be." As for the state's role, he said the fundamental right to marry does not include a right to make a state change its definition of marriage. Now, when you start listening to this guy, you start hearing, well, where was this rationale yesterday when he decided to divine what the Congress intentions were when it passed Obamacare? So, so there's some people that are concerned about that. Roberts continued to write, "The court takes the extraordinary step of ordering every state to license and recognize same-sex marriage. Many people will rejoice at this decision, and I begrudge none of those celebration. But to those who believe in a government of laws, not of men, the majority's approach is deeply disheartening. Supporters of same-sex marriage have achieved considerable success persuading their fellow citizens through the Democrat process to adopt their view. All of that ended today." Antonin Scalia, Clarence Thomas also joined in dissent, but they filed their own dissenting opinions. 5 lawyers have closed the debate and enacted their own vision of marriage as a matter of constitutional law. Stealing this issue from the people will, for many, cast a cloud over same-sex marriage, making a dramatic social change that much more difficult to accept. Justice Roberts went on to say that acceptance has been lost. Once again, like so many other things involved in the gay agenda, this has been rammed down our throats. This has been rammed down our throats without our consent. So in other words, those of us who disagree, we are now being forced to accept what happens behind closed doors among consenting adults without our consent, and that should lead directly to a marriage that is, at least in 30 states or 32 states, I'm not exactly sure, that in 32 states there are people who have voted and disagreed. 5 people in black robes, a super legislature, as I discussed yesterday, have decided to turn over the will of at least 30 states in the United States. The will of the people. The will of the people. Now, and they did so without really a legal basis, as you'll find out as we continue our conversation here on 660 AM The Answer. 866-660-5759. The Supreme Court changed the nation today. In your opinion, was that better, or for worse? 866-660-5759, 866-660-5759. I want to hear what you have to say today. There's a lot more to be said. Coming up, we'll be speaking with Jonathan Saenz. He's the president of Texas Values. He has a response to the Supreme Court marriage decision. Also, coming up a little bit later on tonight, Ann Coulter will join us with her thoughts on this decision. But first, I want to hear yours. 866-660-5759. It is at least as a historic a decision as Roe v. Wade. It happened today. Our nation has changed. What do you think about it? This is the Wells Report on 660 AM The Answer.
Sean Hannity thinks we're missing the bigger picture.
Fine, take the flag down. But I want to point out something here. If you think that flag is going to stop the next Dylan Roof from committing an atrocity and an evil out of racist motivations, you are delusional. What signs did we miss as it relates to this racist lunatic that went and killed these 9 innocent people?
The Sean Hannity Show, afternoons at 2, right before Michael Medved at 5 on 660 AM The Answer.
Hi, this is Andy Tuttle, host of Tuttle Talk every Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer. We're in a real estate market where there's a lot of difficulty, but in difficulty, there's a lot of opportunity as well. Buying, selling, avoiding foreclosure, modifying your credit, all these things are so important to your livelihood. This show is dedicated to cutting through some of the big headlines that you see out there and teaching you how to win in any marketplace. Thank you for tuning in to Tuttle Talk every Sunday, 4 p.m. on 660 AM The Answer. I look forward to speaking with you.
Hey, everybody, Mark Davis from my friends at Good Feet. I've been proud for years to send you to the Good Feet locations in Plano and in Fort Worth. And now I'm really glad to tell you about the third Good Feet location, South Lake, Texas, right there at 2615 East South Lake Boulevard, a couple of blocks east of Town Square on South Lake Boulevard between Kimball and Nolan. Know what happens in there? The same great results you've always gotten in Plano and in Fort Worth. Real people taking care of real foot problems. Foot pain can spread. It can become leg pain, hip pain, back pain. Let's get you out of pain. At goodfeetdfw.com, learn about all the locations, brand new in South Lake. Plano, still on the corner of Coit and the Bush Turnpike in front of Central Market. Fort Worth, 1 block south of I-20 on Bryant Irvin. And brand new Good Feet in South Lake, 2615 East South Lake Boulevard, 2 blocks east of Town Square. It's Good Feet, getting people out of pain today. America's #1 arch support. Check them out at goodfeetdfw.com. That's goodfeetdfw.com, Plano, Fort Worth, and South Lake.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Manzeri, owner of Statewide Remodeling. You know, we've been getting some relief from what is usually the beginning of summer here in Texas. And right behind that, the temperature goes up, and so do your cooling bills. We manufacture our windows to beat the Texas heat. Our fiber core reinforced frames are 9 times stronger than other windows, and our glass has 27% more viewing area. We give you better than triple pane performance at a double pane price. Another thing that separates our window from all competitors is we can match our exterior frame to any color Sherwin-Williams offers. So no plain white windows here or 3 to 4 colors to choose from. And of course, we offer the longest warranty in the industry. It even covers glass breakage and workmanship for as long as you own your home. So if you're ready to see the window that sets the standard in Texas, give us a call. And if you decide it's the one for you, receive 20% off the complete job. The number to call is 888-270-7095. That's 888-270-7095. Or check us out online 24/7 at statewideremodeling.com.
Hey, it's Mark Davis. Is there a snoring issue in your house? Are you on the receiving or the delivering end of that? Well, either way, some folks just aren't sleeping right. And some folks face a real health risk from sleep apnea. This was me. A lot of our health depends on the kind of night's sleep we get. So if you got the snoring issue and sleep apnea is the issue, there's the CPAP device, which just doesn't work for some folks. There's surgery, which is, well, surgery. And then there's simplesleepservices.com. Check them out, simplesleepservices.com. John Truitt and the gang with a magnificent oral appliance. I've got it. It works. It's not the mask. It's not surgery. It's awesome. I love it. You'll love them. And they're in Dallas and Fort Worth. So check them out at either location. Check them out online at simplesleepservices.com. Great people to work with. Stop dreaming about a snoring solution and a good night's sleep. If you don't want surgery and the CPAP thing just isn't working, 469-685-1700. 469-685-1700, simplesleepservices.com.
This year, the stock market hit all-time highs, but will you know when it's time to get out? If you're retired or retiring soon and your investments won't survive a stock market crash, protect them now.
This is Ken Moraif, host of the Money Matters radio show, inviting you to our free seminar.
The seminar is 7 p.m. Tuesday, June 30th at Hilton Garden in Denton. Clients that followed Ken's advice were out of the market for all of 2008. Reserve at moneymatters.net. That's moneymatters.net or call 800-994-0302.
At Kubota, value means getting more than you expected for less than you thought. Like the L2501 DT compact tractor. Now with financing as low as 0% APR for up to 5 years and factory rebates, you can do more for less. That's value. That's Kubota. 0 down, 0% APR financing for terms up to 60 months on select equipment now through June 30th, 2015. Financing through Kubota Credit Corporation USA. Subject to credit approval. Other exceptions may apply. For more information, call toll-free 1-888-465-8268. For more information or to find a participating dealer, visit Kubota.com.
660 AM The Answer. 660 AMTheAnswer.com. The Wells Report. A daily good old-fashioned North Texas barbecue of anybody trying to take advantage of us on 660 AM The Answer.
Jonathan Sines from Texas Values will join us. He's the president of that organization. He's going to tell us what his thoughts are on today's Supreme Court decision regarding same-sex marriage across the land. Now, the law of the land. We've got a long way to go regarding this particular topic, but it all starts with your opinion. 866-660-5759. For better or for worse, Tim, our nation has changed. What do you think?
Entirely for the worse.
Why?
What the Supreme Court has done is they have changed the definition of marriage from a relationship to a status. Now everyone wants to be married so that they can have the benefits and so forth that come with what we traditionally called a relationship. And what that's opened the door to is not only having other sexual orientation people want to have that status, like bisexual, I want to be married to a man and a woman, or non-monogamous relationships where a guy, people say, I don't want to be married to just one person. And so you can have a whole household of people who can claim the status of marriage.
You sound awfully smart, because that's exactly what Chief Justice John Roberts said in his dissent today, part of which we will get to a little bit later on. Coming up in just a couple of seconds, Jonathan Saenz, president of Texas Values, and his thoughts on this decision today. A little bit later on, say 9:35, the lovely Ann Coulter will join us on the Wells Report here on 660 AM The Answer. Don't go anywhere. Back with more in just a moment.
Each week and every Saturday afternoon, whether you're remodeling an existing house or building a new one, doing it yourself or hiring a professional, we're here to bring you interviews with the experts and take your phone calls. And we bring it to you with a little green, whether it be energy efficiency or organic products for your house. So join us each week for a little House Talk Today.
House Talk Today, tomorrow afternoon from 1 to 3 on 660 AM. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Jon-David Wells, here for my friend Walt Parker and InvestingMakesMeSick.com. I've had the very good fortune of getting to know Walt and all the people at InvestingMakesMeSick.com. I've known them for several years, and believe me, these people are people you want to get to know. Walt, everybody seems to want to offer the same old stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and annuities. Tell us what's the difference with what you do.
What we do is educate people and let them know that there is more to investing than the same old, same old. We're in exciting times right now with alternative investment opportunities that can give our clients control over their future.
This is why getting help making a decision about your investment planning is so very important. Walt and his team offer We Come to You service and appointment times that work for you. To schedule one of those, an appointment call 972-463-3833, 972-463-3833, or check out their all-new website at InvestingMakesMeSick.com. All investments involve risk. Investments may be considered speculative and incur substantial fees and expenses borne by the investor. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Titan Securities. InvestingMakesMeSick.com and Titan Securities are not affiliated.
Howdy, folks. Crazy Gun Dealer here, and I love the 4th of July. Family picnics, watermelon, fireworks. But don't forget, we're celebrating our independence. An independence that seems to get smaller and smaller every day. So what better way to exercise your freedom than buying a new gun? While they last, celebrate your freedom with a new Taurus stainless steel 380 pocket pistol. Normal retails $362. In-store only, your cost $179 with the purchase of a box of ammo. That's right, only $179. And you still get free CHO classes, a free lifetime warranty, free range membership, and free test firing with purchase. That's the Crazy Gun Dealer in Alvarado, just 30 minutes south of Dallas and 20 minutes south of Fort Worth. Remember, if we don't already have the best gun price you found, we'll beat any price anywhere, gun to gun, or we'll just give you the gun for free. And why do we do this? Because nobody wants your gun business more than the Crazy Gun Dealer. For more info, visit crazygundealer.com or give us a call at 855-329-4867. That's 855-329-GUNS.
All offers and promotions subject to change or restrictions. See store for complete details.
This is 660 AM The Answer. A service of Salem Media Group on the NASDAQ as SALM, KSKY, Balch Springs, Dallas, Fort Worth. 660 AM The Answer.
Fox News Radio, I'm Carol McHugh. Richard Matt, one of 2 escaped convicts from an upstate New York prison, is dead.
The team came upon Matt, who was an escaped prisoner from Dannemora, engaged Mr. Matt, who was armed, and Mr. Matt was shot and killed.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo speaking in Malone, New York. Fellow escapee David Sweat is still on the run. Reaction to today's Supreme Court ruling legalizing gay marriage from a GOP presidential hopeful.
Republican presidential candidate Governor Bobby Jindal says the Supreme Court is acting as a public polling body.
It'd be nice if we actually had some Supreme Court justices that actually read and understood their job, read the Constitution, understood their job was to actually apply the Constitution.
Jindal says courts are making up laws.
Fox's Lauren Blanchard. In Colorado, a fast-melting snowpack and spring rains are flooding rivers. Whitewater rafters are loving it, but it's dangerous. 11 have been killed. Fox News, we report, you decide.
660 AM, The Answer. The Mike Gallagher Show.
What happens to colleges and faith-based institutions after the Supreme Court ruled in favor of gay marriage? Will churches be forced to marry couples? Will the government punish those who believe in traditional marriage? This decision has opened up a lot of issues that have to be addressed. Also, I'll have the latest on the terror attacks in France and Tunisia. ISIS is on the march.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 10, right before Dennis Prager at noon on 660 AM. The Answer.
How will the future affect the money decisions you make now? Find out Saturday morning with Jerry Tuma and John Criswell on Smart Money. Smart Money will bring you the latest information regarding financial markets and what it means to you and your investment and retirement portfolio. Not knowing could be costly. Smart Money, a voice of experience and integrity with Jerry Tuma and John Criswell. Tomorrow morning at 8 on 660 AM. The Answer.
This is Hugh Hewitt for townhall.com. This last week, in an appearance on Face the Nation with new host John Dickerson, House Intelligence Chairman Devin Nunes told Dickerson that he believes, based on what he sees, and he sees about 99% of what the president sees, the U.S. is at greater risk of attack by foreign terrorists or the Islamic State sympathizers than at any time in our history, including the days before 9/11. The Democrats in Congress who are holding up the Department of Defense's appropriations bill have got to end their recklessness. The peril is too great. Senate Majority Leader McConnell must simply shut down the Senate until the Democrats do what is the first and most important job of the Congress, to protect and defend the United States. Put the final bill before the people and before the Senate, Mr. McConnell, and hammer every day at the fecklessness of those who refuse to protect the country. Accountability will follow, but only if clarity precedes it. These are dangerous times. Obstructionists cannot be allowed to continue to injure the nation's security. I'm Hugh Hewitt.
This townhall.com commentary is brought to you by the Salem Radio Network.
From Plano to Denton down to Louisville too. Hot Finds has it. Also in McKinney, we'll prove it to you. Hot Finds has it. Service, selection, savings, and more. Feel the excitement when you walk through our door. Hot Finds has it. Hot Finds has it.
Hot Fine Chevrolet's Vehicle Upgrade Month has been extended throughout the entire month of June, which means you can get in a new Hot Fine Chevy car, truck, or SUV for perhaps a lower monthly payment than you're presently paying. This could mean newer technology, reduced maintenance and repair costs, a longer and more comprehensive warranty, increased safety, and better gas mileage and finance terms. For more, click to HotFines.net or find new roads to Hot Fine Chevrolet in Louisville or Ray Hot Fine Chevrolet in Plano.
Here it is, Texas summer. Lots of high temperatures, some rain, and some periods of no rain. And put it all together, it makes a real challenge for your soil, your foundation. And if your foundation is doing weird things, or you suspect that it is because you got cracks in the walls or sheetrock or doors that are sticking or floors that don't quite look right, not matching up, call Abacus Foundation Repair. It's the best first call you can make and the only call you need to make. Abacus Foundation Repair. They're going to bring somebody out to map the house with the skill of an engineer, looking for possible causes like plumbing issues so the problem doesn't come back. Let's get on the phone with them right now. 972-406-9000. 972-406-9000. North Texas homeowners trust Abacus, the only company offering Millennium composite pilings for the strongest foundation solution. They're going to stay with you every step of the way. Work is guaranteed. Certified foundation guy on site at all times. You will be taken care of. It's transferable to new owners. 972-406-9000. 972-406-9000 or abacusfoundationrepair.com.
People who can afford a LASIK procedure sure are lucky. Imagine being able to throw away your contacts and glasses. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 20/20 vision. Too bad everyone can't afford LASIK. Well, guess what? There's a company that agrees with you. The LASIK Vision Institute is now offering dramatically low prices on high-quality LASIK to make it affordable for everyone. That means you get the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology for a fraction of what others charge. And if you call right now, we'll schedule a free appointment so you can discover if LASIK is right for you. Results may vary. Call 1-800-700-2629. Even better, if you're one of the first 100 callers, ask about an extra 20% discount off our already low-cost services. We've already performed over 1 million procedures. Let us help you. Discover how you can get the quality LASIK experience you deserve at a fraction of what others charge. For your free appointment, call 1-800-700-2629. 1-800-700-2629.
A few days ago, Brooke Tudine posted an inspirational quote on her wall that got 17 likes and 3 comments. Thumbs up, Brooke. Geico also wants to make a comment. In just 15 minutes, you could save hundreds of dollars on your car insurance by switching to Geico. And nothing says inspiration better than saving money. Well, except for those posters that say things like teamwork, excellence, and make it happen. Hashtag keep climbing. Hashtag savings.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
660 AM, The Answer. Is anybody out there paying attention to what's going on in this country, in this state, and in this city? We know one man who is. You got questions? He's got answers. This is the Wells Report with Jon-David Wells on 660 AM, The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. By the way, our governor, Greg Abbott, has not lain fallow today. He has issued a religious freedom directive for all Texas state agencies. We will have that for you coming up in just a couple of moments here on 660 AM, The Answer. If you have been living under a rock all day, what ended up happening was, as our nation changed, as the Supreme Court of the land in a 5-4 decision has made same-sex marriage a right. The entire nation is now dealing with a different definition of marriage. A lot of people have been bringing up the religious aspects of it. Strangely enough, in the court, only one person on the court dealt with any religious implication whatsoever. And I found it very, very interesting. It was Clarence Thomas. He was awesome in that. And I'm very, very impressed, and really handled himself well there. We've got some of the dissents coming up later on tonight here on the Wells Report on 660 AM, The Answer. This nation was founded by people who sought to place worshiping God according to the dictates of conscience and free of government coercion. It is therefore no coincidence the freedom of religion is the very first freedom granted by the U.S. Constitution. As leaders of this state, we have an obligation to secure the right of all Texans to live their life in accordance with the principles of their religious faith. The constitutions and law of the United States and of this state afford robust protections for religious liberty. The First Amendment to the Constitution provides that the government shall make no law prohibiting the free exercise of religion. Article 1 of the Texas Constitution provides that no human authority ought, in any case whatever, to control or interfere with the rights of conscience in matters of religion. Chapter 110 of the Texas Civil Practice and Remedies Code, the Texas Religious Freedom Restoration Act, provides that the state, its agencies, its political subdivisions, and municipalities may not substantially burden a person's free exercise of religion unless the agency can prove that the burden is in furtherance of a compelling governmental interest and is in the least restrictive means of furthering that interest. That's how Governor Greg Abbott's all-state memo to all state agency heads opens. We'll have more about that as we continue. Joining us now is Jonathan Saenz. He is the president of Texas Values, a nonprofit group dedicated to preserving and advancing a culture of family values in the state of Texas. Jonathan, welcome to the Wells Report. Thank you very much for joining us.
No, it's great to be with you.
Jonathan, earlier today we were talking with former U.S. Senator and presidential candidate Rick Santorum, who said that the possibility that 501c3s that didn't go along with the new orthodoxy, as it's been referred to by dissenting Supreme Court justices, would perhaps face the end of their tax-exempt status. Have you thought about that, and what do you think moving forward about this entire decision?
Oh, there's a real concern on that issue. I mean, our organization, for example, is a 501c3 organization. I'm seeing all kinds of traffic on social media from people that are supporting the redefinition of marriage saying that religious organizations should lose their tax-exempt status now on these type of issues. And so it's a very important issue. We heard it discussed at the Supreme Court oral argument on this case. We heard the Solicitor General, the lawyer for the government, say that he wasn't sure that if there'd be protections in place on these type of issues for religious schools. I mean, we've got a whole lot of areas that we've got to be concerned about. You know, our organization is the largest statewide organization that works on religious freedom and marriage issues, and people can see us at txvalues.org. And so we know what's at stake. That's why we've been engaged in this battle. That's why we've been urging our state leaders to be more aggressive. And, you know, there is so much more that they could be doing. And so I'm encouraged by the directive that Governor Abbott put out. But, you know, there's so much more that needs to be done. You know, so, we worked extensively during the legislative session to try to have legislation in place in case of a ruling like this. One did get passed, the Pastor Protection Bill, which applies to churches and religious organizations. But there's so many other people out there in our society that need these religious freedom protections. But, you know, you're right when it comes to the issue that, you know, the Supreme Court does not have the final say on this. I mean, this definition of marriage is about God's design. It's also about the natural order of things, the natural complementary nature of man and woman. So the Supreme Court can say whatever they want, but they have not changed the definition of marriage.
That's true, and that is the case. What they have done is they have redefined what marriage is from a legal standpoint. I was curious, and I mentioned this before we started talking, that Clarence Thomas was the only person that referenced religion in any of this at all. It's like the entire court put on blinders, that nothing extra legal having anything to do with any concept beyond what has been written down in a legal book was even considered in any of this. And I found that to be very curious.
Yeah, I don't think that was a chance at all. And in the brief that we submitted to the U.S. Supreme Court on this issue that Texas Values submitted, we talked about the religious freedom issue because, look, when it comes to people's views on marriage, so many of those people base that on their belief from a religious perspective. We see it written in the Bible. We see that this is the design of marriage. It really is the government simply talking about it in law and in policy as confirming what the definition is. They didn't create that definition of marriage. They're simply confirming the definition that God created. And so when you start saying that there's something wrong with believing that way, now you're attacking people's belief when it comes to religious issues. So, I mean, take, for example, nonprofit and faith-based adoption and foster care agencies like Catholic Charities. Their view is they're going to place children in homes that are married and that are married with a man and a woman. We've seen them driven out of Boston. We've seen them driven out of Illinois, forced to shut down in some of those other areas because they didn't want to have to change their view on this issue, and some people thought it was discriminatory. Is that what's going to happen in Texas? Is that what's going to happen in other parts of the country? Is Catholic Charities are not going to be able to serve the needs of homeless children because they want to follow their religious beliefs. And it sounds like the other side is willing to be that aggressive. They are willing to make it more difficult for people of faith to provide welfare services simply because they want to follow the dictates of their faith. And it's as if they want to not – this issue is not about love. It's about the folks on the left wanting to force everybody else to get involved in their personal business and to celebrate and be a part of approving their decisions on these lifestyle issues. And so we've gone far beyond any concept or issue of love. This is about government power, and this is about abuse of power now when it comes to religious freedom violations.
We are speaking with Jonathan Saenz. He is the president of Texas Values. Really good, Jonathan. That was well said. So as we move forward, you say that this definition really hasn't changed. You say that we will be in a position where some of these organizations will very aggressively start chasing down the religious-based adoption agencies, et cetera, which they will obviously do. That's the next step. When you say this and you look forward into your your crystal ball, what I'm interested in finding out from you is whether or not you're going to see the courts try to redefine just exactly what religious freedom, religious liberty actually is. In other words, are we going to have to take all of these cases one at a time, and the intervening years will determine, whether kids are taken care of by Catholic Charities or whether these charities will close down and these children will be sent elsewhere?
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of litigation, and we're going to see a lot of legislation, and we're also going to see a lot more advocacy and activity from people within the state of Texas and other parts of the country now becoming very clear to them that all their concerns about religious freedom, those nightmares that they had about these issues, they're going to come to life. And people are going to start saying, all the stuff they said before, people think there's a war on Christianity. And many of us have seen it up close. Now everybody's going to get to see it. And that's unfortunate. And that's not what we wish for. But for some people, that is what they wish for. And you're right. We're going to find out where religious freedom really stands. Because what we heard so far to this point was, don't worry about the religious freedom arguments. If marriage is redefined, that's not going to be the issue. No one's trying to get at that. We're going to now see what a lot of us have been saying is to not trust those statements, because we know that's what it is, a collision course that we're on now that the Supreme Court has brought us to. And so that's why we're going to need the Attorney General's office in the state of Texas, Governor Abbott, and all of our state leaders to be on the same page, to be willing to be as aggressive as necessary, because the First Amendment is religious freedom is in the First Amendment. It is now on a collision course with the 14th Amendment, with this Supreme Court decision. And the 14th Amendment should not be able to override our religious freedom rights. But that's what some people want. And they're going to continue to chip away more and try to limit us to maybe this concept that Obama has of it really being about a freedom of worship in the four walls of your church and nowhere else. That is not what the founders stood for. And that's not what Texas Values is going to stand for or allow to stand in our state.
So as we move forward here, what do you see happening next? Do you believe that this strengthens the hand of the political opposition of the left? In other words, do you believe that the Republicans were handed an opportunity to actually move forward in a way that a majority of Americans, which have, by the way, shown themselves to be in this particular issue, with 32 states voting against this, all set aside by 5 people in black robes? But do you see this as being a way to strengthen, say, for example, the hand of the Republican Party moving forward in 2016?
Well, there's no question now that this issue about marriage and religious freedom together has become the most important issue for any election at the local, state, and certainly at the presidential level, without question. That is going to be the so-called litmus test, particularly when it comes to the Republican Party. And I think that you're going to see people that are in the Republican Party demand that whoever is elected president be willing and gets a nomination from the Republican Party, be willing to be aggressive and to be a leader on this issue of marriage and religious freedom. Part of the reason we're in this situation is because Obama was elected and became very aggressive about moving the issue of redefining marriage. We remember his position before was that he supported marriage between a man and woman, and then he flip-flopped, and then he became very aggressive on this issue, told his attorney general not to enforce the Defense of Marriage Act, told state attorneys general. I mean, he became an activist without question, and that is a big reason why we're in this situation. But you know what? It can swing the other way. So if that's the way executive power is used by this presidency, do not be surprised when you see Republicans being asked for it to be used when a Republican gets elected to the White House, and things can swing back the other way. And you know what? And I don't think any people, people should not be concerned about complaints, because that is why we're in this position. And so if that's the way the game is played, if those are the rules, then it shouldn't be surprised if Republicans do the same thing but go to the far right.
So what you're saying is that Christians are going to have to start following in the footsteps of the liberal left and the secular left. In other words, start fighting for our positions and our principles as hard as they're fighting for theirs.
Well, look, if that's what it takes, I think that's what a lot of people are willing to do, because we've recognized the Supreme Court is no longer a place where we're talking about rule of law. It's become another part of the legislative branch, which is absurd. Okay, but if that's the way it's going to be, then I think a lot of people are going to say, you know what, two can play at that game. But you know what, when it comes down to it, this is also about getting the American people and the Texas people to consider and to come to terms with how valuable and what the issue and definition of marriage is so tied to, and why there is something unique about the issue of a biological man and a woman. That is where we got with the pro-life movement. When people started to understand the human nature and the fact that life begins at conception, those were that was a very pivotal turning point. And so I hope it doesn't take us 40 years to get there, but however long it takes the commitment of knowing this foundational principle of religious freedom is important and how closely it's tied to marriage. And if we have to litigate these issues and legislate them for the next 40 years to do what's right, that's what we're committed to do.
Jonathan Saenz, our guest, the president of Texas Values. If people want to know more about your organization, Jonathan, where do they go and what do they do?
They can go to txvalues.org and to get our updates. You can go on social media and see what we're doing on our Facebook and Twitter pages. And so, these issues, faith, family, and freedom are and will always be Texas values.
Jonathan Saenz joining us on the Wells Report here on 660 AM The Answer. You can too. So the Supreme Court has decided that gay marriage, same-sex marriage, is now the law of the land, quashing all debate. Except here on the Wells Report. What do you think of that decision? Join us, 866-660-5759. This is the Wells Report on 660 AM The Answer.
When the economy crashed in 2008, the Fed lowered interest rates. They've been low ever since. But now the economy's improving, and most experts believe the Fed will start raising interest rates very soon. That means you should refinance your mortgage now to pull cash out of your home at today's low rates, because once the Fed starts raising rates, they probably won't stop. So beat the Fed to the punch and refi your mortgage before it's too late by making the cash call at 855-875-CASH. Today, Cash Call Mortgage is offering a 15-year fix at 2.99% rate and APR with no closing costs. You have the chance to pull tens of thousands out of your home, lock in a low rate, and pay absolutely nothing out of pocket, but you have to act now. Cash Call Mortgage is designed to save. Call 855-875-CASH today.
Impact Mortgage Corp. DBA Cash Call Mortgage. 1 City Boulevard, West Suite 200, Orange, California 92868. Equal housing lender. Call 866-900-8744 for terms and restrictions. Subject to loan underwriting. Rates may change without notice. NMLS number 128231.
That's 855-875-CASH.
Hey everybody, Mark Davis from my friends at Good Feet. I've been proud for years to send you to the Good Feet locations in Plano and in Fort Worth. And now I'm really glad to tell you about the third Good Feet location, South Lake, Texas, right there at 2615 East South Lake Boulevard, a couple of blocks east of Town Square on South Lake Boulevard between Kimball and Nolan. Know what happens in there? The same great results you've always gotten in Plano and in Fort Worth. Real people taking care of real foot problems. Foot pain can spread. It can become leg pain, hip pain, back pain. Let's get you out of pain. At goodfeetdfw.com, learn about all the locations brand new in South Lake. Plano, still on the corner of Coit and the Bush Turnpike in front of Central Market. Fort Worth, 1 block south of I-20 on Bryant Irvin. And brand new Good Feet in South Lake, 2615 East South Lake Boulevard, 2 blocks east of Town Square. It's Good Feet, getting people out of pain today. America's #1 arch support. Check them out at goodfeetdfw.com. That's goodfeetdfw.com, Plano, Fort Worth, and South Lake.
This is Dan Tullis, and I just called Joel Clark, one of Select Quote Insurance Services' term life agents.
Hi, Mr. Tullis.
Joel, how does Select Quote save you money on term life insurance?
Well, buying term life insurance is all about choosing the right company. Let's say you take antidepressants or you smoke. All insurance companies are going to price that differently. We'll impartially shop all the companies we represent to find you the best price.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. I just got a man, 40 years old, on cholesterol medication, a $500,000 policy with a highly rated insurance company. His price, $22 a month.
Call 1-800-919-8949 and see how affordable term life insurance can be. That's 1-800-919-8949. 1-800-919-8949. Or go to selectquote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details on the example policy at selectquote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Hi, I'm Tom Kidd, engineering graduate of Texas A&M and owner of Structured Foundation Repairs. Our number is 972-484-1200. Our motto is to do the right thing. In some respects, it's hard being the company that always does the right thing. But for our customers' sake, it's very important that we do. Being fully insured, as an example, costs us a lot of money, but it protects our customers. Having employees instead of day laborers is a huge responsibility, but our dedicated employees ensure that we do the best repairs we can. Managing a large office staff can be tedious, but they provide our customers a helpful voice when they need something urgent. Returning every phone call is time-consuming, but instills our customers with confidence that we will always be there when they need us. The Aggie Code of Honor states that Aggies don't lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those that do. That code was the principle our company was founded on, and it guides our daily operations. If this sounds like the kind of company you could trust to repair your foundation, call us today for a free evaluation at 484-1200, or click structuredfoundation.com.
If you're retired or retiring soon, you cannot afford to miss the free Money Matters Retirement Seminar this coming Tuesday, June 30th at Hilton Garden Inn, Denton. Learn the best vehicle for fighting inflation, the 5 strategies you can use to reduce your income taxes, the best time to take Social Security, and most important, how to protect your retirement from the next market crash, plus so much more. Clients that followed Ken's advice were out of the market for 2008. Reserve now at moneymatters.net. That's moneymatters.net, or call 800-994-0302.
Have you ever considered joining the military but stopped because you couldn't deploy to a foreign country? Believe it or not, the state of Texas has its own military force that stands alongside the Texas National Guard, the Texas Air National Guard, and serves only inside the state of Texas. It's called the Texas State Guard. I'm Tech Sergeant John Wells of the 4th Air Wing, and we're looking for you to join us. Give us a call at 877-398-8350. That's 877-398-8350. If you love Texas as much as we do, join the 4th Air Wing of the Texas State Guard.
660 AM, The Answer. 660 AM, TheAnswer.com. Only for Texas. This is the Wells Report with Jon-David Wells on 660 AM, The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. Our governor, Greg Abbott, has written a memo regarding religious liberty for all Texans. Texans of all faiths must be absolutely secure in the knowledge their religious freedom is beyond the reach of government. Renewing and reinforcing that promise is all the more important in light of the Supreme Court's decision in Obergefell versus Hodges. The government must never pressure a person to abandon or violate his or her sincerely held religious beliefs regarding a topic such as marriage. That sort of religious coercion will never be a compelling governmental interest. It will never be the least restrictive means of furthering that interest. Texas RFRA enshrines, that's a Religious Freedom Restoration Act, enshrines the foundational principle that religious liberty confined to a sanctuary is not liberty at all, and religious freedom limited to one's home or thoughts is not freedom at all. The law protects religious liberty not only in houses of worship, but also in schools, in businesses, in the military, in public forums, and in the town square. These protections are afforded to all people of all faiths. Yet in the wake of the Supreme Court decision, the law's promise of religious liberty will be tested by some who seek to silence and marginalize those whose conscience will not allow them to participate in or endorse marriages that are incompatible with their religious beliefs. As government officials, we have a constitutional duty to preserve, protect, and defend the religious liberty of every Texan. With these obligations in mind, I expect all agencies under my direction to prioritize compliance with the First Amendment to the United States Constitution, Article 1 of the Texas Constitution, and the Texas Religious Freedom Restoration Act. All state agency heads should ensure that no one acting on behalf of their agency takes any adverse action against any person, as defined in Chapter 311 of the Texas Government Code, on account of this person's act or refusal to act that is substantially motivated by sincere religious belief. This order applies to any agency decision, including but not limited to granting or denying benefits, managing agency employees, entering or enforcing agency contracts, licensing and permitting decisions, or enforcing state laws and regulations. Thank you for your dedication to the state of Texas. Sincerely, Greg Abbott, Governor of Texas. And so, the lines are drawn. Where do you stand? What do you believe? 866-660-5759. The 26th day of June, year of our Lord, 2015. The 27th day of June, year of our Lord, 2015. I'll get these numbers correct. See, I have a problem with numbers. Today is the 26th, not the 27th. I knew that. And Coulter is next. Do you want to just do the rest of this? Obviously I ran out of.
660 AM
Yeah,
The Answer.
I know. Thank you. Matt says that you're listening to 660 AM The Answer. This is the Wells Report. Anything else? Any other suggestions? No, I'm not going to say that. Thank you, though. I appreciate it. You're listening to the Wells Report. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Dennis Gibbs, the boat guy, here with the Big Boat and Outdoor Show. It's boating time, folks, so don't forget to tune in to the only boating talk show on 660 AM The Answer every Saturday evening from 6 to 7 p.m. Brought to you by BoatSelect.com, the site with thousands of boats for sale, or list your boat for free on BoatSelect.com. I know you have questions about your boat or one you're buying. Email those questions to me at BigBoatShow@yahoo.com.
Hi, this is Jon-David Wells from the Wells Report with Walt Parker here from InvestingMakesMeSick.com. Walt, I was looking at your new website. I've got to admit, I'm impressed.
We keep telling people there's more to investing than just stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and annuities. Our new website is full of information about these alternative investments. You need to understand your investments. We also provide our We Come to You service and spend the time necessary to help people know they have other options than just stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and annuities. Website is great, but nothing beats a face-to-face discussion to help you with your investment decisions.
Most people say they listen to your ads for 2 years before calling. Don't wait 2 years. Call Walt right now, 972-463-3833. That's 972-463-3833, or visit their new website at investingmakesmesick.com. All investments involve risk. Investments may be considered speculative and incur substantial fees and expenses borne by the investor. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Titan Securities. InvestingMakesMeSick.com and Titan Securities are not affiliated.
Dentist office, may I help you?
Hi, I'd like to cancel my teeth whitening appointment.
Oh, may I ask why?
I found a teeth whitener that works in 5 minutes that I can do from home.
Can I ask what it is?
It's called Power Swabs, and it whitens your teeth in 5 minutes, doesn't leave my teeth feeling sensitive, and it's a lot less expensive than visiting the dentist.
Hi, I'm John Greenhut, the CEO of Power Swabs. And if you want to whiten your teeth 2 shades in 5 minutes and 6 shades in 7 days, then try Power Swabs. There's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth and you're done. It removes stains on natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. Try Power Swabs risk-free by calling 1-800-281-4037. That's 1-800-281-4037. I guarantee your friends and coworkers will be wowed by your new white smile. Try it risk-free and get free shipping and handling today. Dial 1-800-281-4037. That's 1-800-281-4037.
How are we supposed to balance the budget when our appliances keep breaking down? Last month, it was the air conditioner. Before that, the refrigerator. What's it going to be next month?
It's hard enough these days trying to keep a balanced household budget. It's even harder when a home appliance or system breaks down unexpectedly. The repair bill could set you back months. But buying a home warranty from American Home Shield helps protect your budget against those unexpected costs because they help pay covered repairs for you. Your air conditioner, plumbing, oven, refrigerator, water heater, and more. For helpful free information, go to ahs.com or call 1-800-322-4147. Service requests are subject to a fee for each trade call. Some exclusions and limitations apply. The truth is, home appliances and systems do break down. So why not get a home warranty and let American Home Shield help pay covered repair bills for you? For helpful free information, including terms, rates, and coverage, go to ahs.com. That's ahs.com. Or call 1-800-322-4147.
They're always coming, and sometimes they take you by surprise. Special occasions, birthdays, anniversaries, engagements. You've got to do your best, but you want some great selection and save a bunch of money, and you will do that at Dallas Gold and Silver Exchange. DGSE.com. For birthdays, anniversaries, occasions where you've got to do some very special shopping for the most important people in your life. Check out the 9 locations of Dallas Gold and Silver Exchange at DGSE.com. Obviously, gold, jewelry, earrings, pendants, engagement rings, settings, loose diamonds, gemstones, incredible prices on all the above. They are your pre-owned Rolex headquarters. It's a beautiful Rolex. Ain't nobody going to know it's previously owned. You know what I mean? Gold, silver, and precious metals investing. They've been my headquarters for this for more than 20 years. Great prices, awesome selection, fantastic customer service. Dallas Gold and Silver Exchange. Get on in there today. Save a bunch of money and have a great time. DGSE.com. That's DGSE.com, Dallas Gold and Silver Exchange.
At Kubota, value means getting more than you expected for less than you thought. Like the L2501 DT compact tractor. Now with financing as low as 0% APR for up to 5 years and factory rebates, you can do more for less. That's value. That's Kubota. 0 down, 0% APR financing for terms up to 60 months on select equipment now through June 30th, 2015. Financing through Kubota Credit Corporation USA. Subject to credit approval. Other exceptions may apply. For more information, call toll-free 1-888-465-8268. For more information or to find a participating dealer, visit Kubota.com.
Learn a little something at the start of your day. The Mark Davis Show. Mornings 7 to 10 on 660 AM. The Answer. You're hearing tomorrow's front page on the Wells Report with Jon-David Wells on 660 AM. The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. We are very fortunate to have Ann Coulter joining us. She's an author of 10 New York Times bestsellers. I don't know her latest book will make it to the New York Times bestseller list because it's rather provocative, which is the way she normally does her business. The name of her latest book is Adios America, The Left's Plan to Turn Our Country into a Third World Hellhole. By the way, she has an awful lot of experience in dealing with federal courts. She clerked for the Honorable Pasco Bowman II of the United States Court of Appeals for the Eighth Circuit. She was an attorney in the Department of Justice Honors Program for outstanding law school graduates. She was a practicing lawyer. She is a superb political analyst. She joins us now to talk a little bit about the decision today from the Supreme Court. Ann Coulter, a privilege and pleasure to have you back again on the Wells Report. Thanks for coming.
It's great to be here, especially on such an irritating day.
It is a completely annoying day, in fact. I watched the Supreme Court of the United States decide that it was the center of the universe today, quite literally.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. I haven't been able to read all the opinions yet, but I did start Justice Anthony Kennedy's opinion in the gay marriage case, and oh my gosh, it is fruity. I want to go back and read Loving versus Virginia now. That was the case that struck down. Virginia had a law prohibiting miscegenation. And I bet you will not see the words, the phrase that occurs repeatedly in Kennedy's opinion, and then they fell in love.
Uh-huh.
Oh, really? Is that part of our jurisprudence now? And then they fell in love? Oh my gosh, it is so preposterous. But at least we got a good dissent out of Roberts.
Yeah, finally. I wish he had found that voice.
Exactly.
I wish he had found that voice yesterday. I mean, when he was talking about how the court overstepped its bounds and was not a legislature and all that kind of stuff. I really wish he could have found that yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, the gay marriage decision is so lawless. It's enraging, but at least no one will die. People are going to die because of Obamacare. That is far worse. And in both of the cases upholding Obamacare, the Supreme Court is so egregiously violating its duty, which is to interpret laws, of course. But in particular, I mean, if you step back and look at how our entire constitutional government exists, or how it's put together with power against power and three branches of government with different advantages and different disadvantages. So the Supreme Court has the advantage they don't have to stand for election. The Congress has the advantage that they get to write laws, but then they have to face the voters. So when Congress passed Obamacare on a strictly party line vote, only Democrats voting for it, barely got through, a very important point, even to do that, even to have a partisan vote, was this is not a tax, this is not a tax, this is not a tax. With Republicans screaming from the rooftops, this is the largest tax hike in world history. So it goes up to the Supreme Court, and the only way the Supreme Court can uphold it is by saying, well, we know you Democrats couldn't call it a tax, but we'll help you out here. If you call it a tax, we can uphold it because you're allowed to raise taxes. You can't have mandates, but what you said it was. Well, no, the Supreme Court can't do that. The way the Supreme Court characterized it, it never would have passed. And now it's done it again in a slightly different way, similar, but slightly different. The reason the Democrats put this provision in saying that only state Obamacare exchanges would be eligible for subsidies was in order to force the hand of Republican governors and Republican legislators in states that didn't want Obamacare. They say, okay, fine, you're going to screw your own people. If you don't set up an exchange, then no one living in your state is going to get a subsidy. They thought that was a brilliant plan, and I kept hearing them laugh about it on MSNBC. Oh, are these Republican governors and legislators? They're just going to be screwing their own people. But there were enough Republican governors and legislators who said, we think this is a disaster. We're not setting up an exchange. Thus, the entire system would have collapsed because The real purpose of Obamacare is to tax the middle class in order to fund the health care of people who do not pay taxes. And so your health care is going to be wrecked if you are a taxpayer. If you have no insurance, especially if you're particularly poor, no, everything you're taken care of cradle to grave now. And once again, the Supreme Court comes in and says, well, this was a clever little trick, but it didn't work, so here we'll rewrite it for you.
Yeah, and so now we have a situation where the Supreme Court of the United States is not arbitrating laws vis-a-vis the Constitution. What they are doing is they are turning themselves into a star chamber, shall we say, a super legislature to be able to fix the silliness of law that was badly written or divine intent out of law that was badly written. And in the case of what we're dealing with today, essentially create an entire new group of aggrieved people that are set free by a legislature that has, or a super legislature that has actually dumped the will of the people demonstrated in election after election after election on its head. 5 people in the Supreme Court have turned aside the will of every place that has voted on gay marriage.
No, that's right. And let me tell you, it's just going to get worse because of immigration, the topic of my book, Adios America. Consider none of this would have happened but for Teddy Kennedy's Immigration Act, because Obama never would have been elected. He never would have been able to nominate, Kagan and Sotomayor. But it's just going to get worse. I mean, as bad a candidate as Hillary is, I'm starting to wonder if even she can't get elected with the demographic changes that have gone through. Obamacare itself, I mean, forget Sotomayor and Kagan being 2 votes for to uphold Obamacare and for gay marriage. We would have never had Obamacare but for Al Franken being elected to the United States Senate.
Yeah.
And not only was that election stolen, as we know, they kept counting votes. What's his name? Gordon, who was he running against? Senator Gordon, I can't think, whoever the incumbent Republican was. He was ahead election night, and then they kept counting, i.e., coming up with fake votes.
Finding more votes. Yeah, exactly.
In the end, Franken had 214 votes he won by. Well, they've already found more than 1,000 votes that were stolen. Yet and still, put that aside, people do talk about the vote theft that got Al Franken elected so that he could be the 51st vote for Obamacare. He also had about 50,000 Somalis voting for him. From big rallies held with Keith Ellison saying, this is your guy, and the Somalis are not only collecting welfare in Minnesota, they are block voting for the Democrats. So everything, I mean, it seems like wave after wave of loss is hitting right-wingers from gay marriage. And there's also that Texas case, the Section 8 housing case. Not only are we going to have to pay for poor people's housing, but now they can bring lawsuits to say, but I don't want my subsidized housing to be in a poor area of town. I want it to be in a nice area of town. I mean, in a way, that decision may be worse than the others. But we're just going to keep losing and losing until it is not because Democrats have changed anyone's mind. It is because they have changed the voters. And no matter how angry you get, America, if everybody goes out, everyone you think of as American who was an American 30 years ago goes out and says, screw it, I've had it, I'm registering with the Republicans, you may still be outvoted. There is nothing more important than who gets to live, collect welfare, and in particular, vote in America. All of this was set in the cards by immigration. Don't despair. I think there's still time. But I'm not saying this to sell a book. I don't think I make any more money with each book I sell because I got a nice advance. But I do want you to read my book to save the country.
Adios America is the name of the book, and Coulter is the author. She joins us on the Wells Report on 660 AM The Answer. Should we amend the Constitution to elect federal and Supreme Court justices?
Well, at this point...
Yeah,
I mean, again, it goes back to what matters is who's voting. Your country is being taken away from you. I mean, at this point, if we can't turn things around and shut down immigration, I think it's more a question of whether we should call out the death squad because the country is going to be gone. and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, if we elect Supreme Court justices with the same people voting who put Al Franken into office, they'll be voting for Kagan and Sotomayor. Sure, just keep the welfare benefits flowing. Gay marriage, abortion, you name it. Look at what is happening. What has happened for 100 years in Latin America to see your future. I also think the next step is going to be, I mean, as we get overwhelmed with these peasant cultures who are block voting for the Democrats, the next step is going to be a wealth tax. So you can scrimp and save and work and pay taxes, and that little bit you're left with at the end of your life, your house, and you've put aside a few $100,000, maybe $1 million. The government is going to say, we know we said we taxed you on this, and that was the part you could keep. But it turns out we have a lot of government services. Obamacare costs way more than we expected.
Sure.
And we need that retirement account of yours. We're going to need that house. That also happens in Latin America. No, everything comes down to who gets to vote here. No solution that has ever worked before will work again unless we stop our current immigration policies.
Which takes us to the 2016 election. It looks as though the Republican Party is well positioned for a possible success. I would say more than possible, but I've seen the Republican Party snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You think they're capable of really doing it this time as well?
Well, I really don't. I can't see, and maybe I'll be completely wrong because, as Yogi Berra says,
it ain't over until it's over.
It's hard to make predictions, especially about the future. I cannot imagine Republican primary voters going for Marco Rubio and Jeb Bush, who just want to transform this entire country into Mexico overnight. I mean, our current immigration policies will do it within the next 5 or 10 years. Amnesty does it immediately. Here, we're just going to pass this law and everybody come in. We've already taken 1/4 of Mexico's entire population. No, they'll all be moving in. I don't see Republican primary voters going for that. Even Donald Trump, whom I would say has no chance of becoming the nominee. You'd have to be a governor or a former governor. Yet and still, I am so glad he's in the race. And look at this, and this is yesterday's Fox poll. He's polling at number 2 in New Hampshire. He is so far ahead, and he's not, and in my opinion, it's not a serious candidacy. If you follow my work closely, I'm always against non-governors running for president because they distract us, they waste our time, they distract. But in this case, I'm really glad Trump is in it because he's going to he may be the only one who can force the candidates and the moderators to talk about immigration. And on immigration, I'd say the best candidates are Scott Walker and Bobby Jindal, but the best we ever had on immigration was Mitt Romney, and I wish Republicans would wake up and demand that he get back in the race.
I voted for Mitt Romney last time around. I asked everybody to vote for Mitt Romney, and I really wish they had paid attention, but no joy. And Coulter is our guest. She's the author of Adios America, The Left's Plan to Turn Our Country into a Third World Hellhole. So as we finish up this interview, and I want to ask you this very seriously, are we going to see the America we used to see, or are we really through the tipping point at this point?
I don't think we've hit the tipping point yet, but we're getting really close, and it's really important, obviously, to keep America. It's important for the entire world that America remain America, which is why it just drives me crazy that we spend so much time talking about, ISIS or, how we're going to fix Medicare or Medicaid. No, we're not. You're not going to do any of that unless you change who is voting in this country. We need a total immigration moratorium to get our affairs in order, assimilate the ones already here. We need a triple layer fence on the border until it's as hard to get into America as it was to get out of East Germany. We have to end the insane anchor baby policy. This is all that matters. No matter what you think the most important issue is, abortion, gay marriage, Iran getting nukes, Obama giving away our victory in Iraq by pulling the troops out, Obama never would have been elected but for immigration. Romney would have won a bigger victory over Obama in 2012 than Reagan did against Carter in 1980, but for recent immigrants who are voting 8-2 for the Democrats. And look, nobody's going to tell you that on TV, and immigration is always just, written off as one of many little issues. No, it is everything. everything we have lost over the past 7 years, and that's a loss. We lost Iraq. We lost our health care. We've lost on gay marriage. We've lost the Supreme Court. Everything we have lost never would have happened except Democrats decided to bring in new voters without checking with the country first.
Ann Coulter, it's always a privilege to have you on. Thank you very much for being a part of this radio broadcast and telling us more about what you think our future is and all about this. Thank you again for joining us. We'll look forward to having you again soon.
Great to talk to you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're listening to the Wells Report. This is 660 AM The Answer. Back with more in just a moment.
Each week and every Saturday afternoon, whether you're remodeling an existing house or building a new one, doing it yourself or hiring a professional, we're here to bring you interviews with the experts and take your phone calls. And we bring it to you with a little green, whether it be energy efficiency or organic products for your house. So join us each week for a little House Talk Today.
House Talk Today, tomorrow afternoon from 1 to 3 on 660 AM. The Answer.
For almost 2 decades, financial advisor and educator Rick Poston with Empowered Wealth Financial Services has provided peace of mind to thousands who see or hear him in the media or read his work. Rick has been chosen by Bloomberg Business Week magazine as one of the top 20 game-changing financial advisors in the country. A fan of Rick's profound teaching, Brian Tracy, world-renowned business leader, speaker, and best-selling author, has asked Rick to co-author his newest book entitled The Winning Way, where Rick will share with his fans some of the principles that allow Rick's clients to continue on their winning way. If you're looking to break away from that same old investment plan that has provided you with one too many disappointments, stay tuned to 660 AM The Answer every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock for the most educational hour on financial talk radio with Empowered Wealth Radio, live. Or call 469-361-4020.
The Dallas Morning News reported that an uninsured man went to a local hospital for an abdominal CT scan and was then charged $27,200. At the local hospital, a CT scan of 3 body sections comes to $81,600. Mark Davis has been telling you for years what a deal the VIA scan is, as it scans the same 3 sections, chest, abdomen, and pelvis, for only $695. The VIA scan is a whopping savings of over $80,000. And for this week only, if you work in the financial services sector, take another $100 off the ViaScan body scan, making your cost just $595. Call ViaScan now at 972-739-2840 and get the most advanced prevention and wellness scan for early detection of heart and cancer issues, or just give yourself a little peace of mind. All for the incredible price of $595 for financial sector employees or $695 for all others. ViaScan 972-739-2840.
If you're thinking about new windows for your home, here's what you have to consider. A quality-minded company that's been in business for a long time that'll be here if you need them in the future. That offers several options for you to choose from with a good warranty and a fair price. Hi, folks. I'm Frank Manzeri, co-owner of Statewide Remodeling, and I'm happy to say my company meets all those requirements. We've been installing new windows in Texas homes for over 21 years. Our restoration windows with their fiber core frames are 8 times stronger than hollow core vinyl and twice as strong as any composite frame. The exterior can be finished to match any color Sherwin-Williams offers, and we have 27% more glass area, so you don't lose near the visibility you do with other window brands. We also offer 100% financing to fit almost any budget. If you call now for your free estimate, I'm offering a 20% discount on your complete window and door project. Of course, your price is good for 30 days, so you have time to think it over or shop around. The number to call is 888-270-7095. That's 888-270-7095, or visit us online at statewideremodeling.com.
Hi, folks. Alan Thicke here. You know, some things in life are just too serious to take chances on, and owing money to the IRS is definitely one of those. The IRS has the power to garnish your paycheck. They can levy your bank account, even take your home or business. Seriously. Thankfully, with one simple call, you can start solving your tax debt once and for all. Optima Tax Relief is the leading tax resolution firm in the nation. They have over 250 professionals. They have an A rating with the Better Business Bureau and the trust of thousands of satisfied clients. Optima's attorneys can immediately protect you from aggressive collections because they are experts in the Fresh Start Initiative. That's a special IRS debt forgiveness program that could save you thousands. Don't wait till it's too late. Get serious. Call Optima now for your free consultation.
Call 800-711-5743. 800-711-5743. 800-711
877-5743. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Your local pharmacist is also a Health Mart pharmacist, and they're not like other pharmacists.
After Mom's surgery, I was overwhelmed, but I was so relieved. Her Health Mart pharmacist was there to help. They explained her medication and even delivered to her house. Mom got the personal service she needed, and I got something even better. Peace of mind.
Visit healthmart.com to find a locally owned Health Mart pharmacy near you. Health Mart, caring for you and about you.
Saying I don't know is no longer acceptable. This is 660 AM, The Answer. Isn't thinking so much more fun than getting yelled at? The Wells Report on 660 AM, The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. I want to thank Ann Coulter for joining us tonight. Sincerely appreciate her thoughts on that. She believes it all comes back to something that happened in 1965, Teddy Kennedy's Immigration Act. I don't know that I can do that, but you really can't deny the amount of work that Ann Coulter does on her books. She really does do all the necessary work in the background to be able to make the statements she makes. Otherwise, she would have been run out of the business a long time ago. I mean, think about the provocative things she says. Well, they're all based in truth because she actually goes and chases it. It's one of the reasons why I like her so much. I mean, she can be very provocative. There is no doubt about it. But the thing about it is that we're not going to get anywhere by common polite dialogue at all times. As the simple case of the matter is, it's, for example, that's why Ann Coulter a lot better than George Will, although both are brilliant people. So Texas voters have made it very, very clear regarding same-sex marriage. But of course, all this is out the window. Let's see. Overall numbers hide ideological, religious, and other differences. Democrats favored gay marriage by a 3-to-1 margin. 25% of Republicans agree with them. 60% oppose such unions. It's important to know that in 31 states, the people who voted on same-sex marriage disagreed with today's decision by the Supreme Court. It's important to know. You're listening to the Wells Report. Coming up in just a couple of seconds, we're going to spend some time with the decision and the dissenters next on the Wells Report.
Hey, it's Mark Davis. Got some questions about your eyes. Are you over 40? Are you starting to experience poor near vision without your reading glasses, especially in low light like restaurants? If so, might be DLS. What's that? Dysfunctional lens syndrome. Frustrating stuff. At Climate Evangelista Eye Center, their doctors have several advanced procedures to help you overcome dysfunctional lens syndrome and enjoy life. First step, call Climate Evangelista Eye Center, 1-800-714-2020. 1-800-714-2020. Take a couple minutes out of your day right now. Make the call. Get answers to your questions. Find out more about your options for DLS. The number again, 1-800-714-2020. The treatment leaves patients with a bunch of benefits. Reduced dependency on readers or bifocals, improved night vision, improved reading, better computer vision. Life with DLS is a bummer. You may have better options. Let's go with Climate Evangelista Eye Center, 1-800-714-2020, 1-800-714-2020. Affordable payment plans, evening weekend appointments, free consultations, LASIKsurgery.com.
In national financial news, a limited number of 2015 U.S. Silver Eagle dollars are now available at an introductory price too low to reveal on the radio. In a moment, we'll provide the toll-free number to call. The Silver Eagle is the largest and purest U.S. silver dollar ever struck. 1 ounce of pure silver, and is the only silver coin guaranteed by the U.S. government for its weight and purity. Over the years, the Silver Eagle has been one of the world's most popular and widely collected silver coins. From time to time, the U.S. Mint has even suspended production during periods of exceptionally high demand. Demand for the 2015 Silver Eagle is expected to be intense, especially at this shockingly low introductory price, forcing a strict limit of just 10 per household. To claim a share of these Silver Eagles and receive a free collector's guide, interested individuals are encouraged to call now. 1-800-500-6706. 1-800-500-6706. 1-800-500-6706.
I don't like sit-down dinners. I don't go to sit-down strikes. I like standing
standing room only, and I don't ride bikes.
This pretty bad song is by a guy with pretty bad hemorrhoids. He needs Preparation H relief with the power of 2. First, use fast-acting Preparation H medicated wipes, then longer-lasting Preparation H maximum strength cream.
Let's sit together on the porch swing.
Preparation H. Don't stand for hemorrhoids. Use as directed.
And try specially formulated medicated wipes for women.
This is 660 AM, The Answer. A service of Salem Media Group on the NASDAQ as SALM, KSKY, Balch Springs, Dallas, Fort Worth. 660 AM, The Answer.
Fox News Radio, I'm Karen McHugh. The hunt goes on in the forests of upstate New York for escaped Jon-David Sweat. He's still on the run. His fellow escapee, Richard Matt, was shot dead by police this afternoon. In a historic 5-4 decision, the Supreme Court says yes to gay marriage in all 50 states.
Avoiding more narrow or tailored outcomes, Justice Anthony Kennedy concludes no union is more profound than marriage, citing the 14th Amendment guarantees equal dignity in the eyes of the law.
Fox Radio's Jared Halpern fears that terror attacks like those today in Tunisia, Kuwait, and France may happen here.
Fox News has learned the FBI and Department of Homeland Security have issued a bulletin warning of a possible terror attack tied to the 4th of July holiday. There's no one specific threat, but U.S. intelligence officials say there's been ISIS-related chatter about desired attacks on law enforcement and military personnel.
Fox Radio's Jill Nato. Fox News, we report, you decide.
660 AM, The Answer. Bill Bennett isn't to a level of forgiveness for the South Carolina church shooter.
First of all, is there any regret on his part? Is there any repentance, any sorrow, any saying, that doesn't have to come first before there's forgiveness? I guess not. You forgive anyway. Is that right?
Right.
Man, I'm just not there. I'm just maybe a bad Catholic, a bad Christian. I'm not there.
Bill Bennett's Morning in America. Weekday mornings at 5, right before the Mark Davis Show at 7 on 660 AM. The Answer.
The stock market is at record highs, but will it keep going up, or are we due for another major correction? The financial newspapers are reporting that record numbers of major investors are leaving the market. If you're worried about the roller coaster stock market, there are some alternative ways to grow your money and build a solid, predictable retirement. The team at Guardian Financial Management will show you how to grow your money and still sleep well at night. Tune in to Plain Talk, No Worries, Financial Hour each Sunday at 7 a.m. on 660 AM. The Answer.
Dentist office, may I help you?
Hi, I'd like to cancel my teeth whitening appointment.
Oh, may I ask why?
I found a teeth whitener that works in 5 minutes that I can do from home.
Can I ask what it is?
It's called Power Swabs, and it whitens your teeth in 5 minutes, doesn't leave my teeth feeling sensitive, and it's a lot less expensive than visiting the dentist.
Hi, I'm John Greenhut, the CEO of Power Swabs. And if you want to whiten your teeth 2 shades in 5 minutes and 6 shades in 7 days, then try Power Swabs. There's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth and you're done. It removes stains on natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. Try Power Swabs risk-free by calling 1-800-281-4037. That's 1-800-281-4037. I guarantee your friends and coworkers will be wowed by your new white smile. Try it risk-free and get free shipping and handling today. Dial 1-800-281-4037. That's 1-800-281-4037.
Hi, I'm Tom Kidd, engineering graduate of Texas A&M and owner of Structured Foundation Repairs. Our number is 972-484-1200. Our motto is to do the right thing. In some respects, it's hard being the company that always does the right thing. But for our customers' sake, it's very important that we do. Being fully insured, as an example, costs us a lot of money, but it protects our customers. Having employees instead of day laborers is a huge responsibility, but our dedicated employees ensure that we do the best repairs we can. Managing a large office staff can be tedious, but they provide our customers a helpful voice when they need something urgent. Returning every phone call is time-consuming, but instills our customers with confidence that we will always be there when they need us. The Aggie Code of Honor states that Aggies don't lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those that do. That code was the principle our company was founded on, and it guides our daily operations. If this sounds like the kind of company you could trust to repair your foundation, call us today for a free evaluation at 972-484-1200 or click structuredfoundation.com.
A lot of people have so many windows on the house that it seems a little bit overwhelming to try to figure out which ones are appropriate to replace. Hi, I'm Dave Trainer with the Window Connection.
I'm brewing
Let
up
us
some
help you
fresh
pick out
coffee.
the right few windows. Usually we spend most of our time in front of 3 or 4 or
Say what?
possibly 7 or 8 windows. by making
No,
those
actually,
more
that's
energy
yours.
efficient, making yourself more
All right,
comfortable
I didn't buy
in the
any.
heat of the summer in front of those windows.
You said you were going to buy some.
Motivated to see what they'll do on the rest of the house as well. You will find
Actually,
that
I've
the
been
house
using it.
feels literally twice as quiet, twice as airtight, 4 times more energy efficient. It can just be a phenomenal difference. I've had customers tell me that their electric bills have gone down as much as 50% by just replacing those windows.
Call the Window Connection for an estimate at 972-620-1994. That's 972-620-1994. Or go online to thewindowconnection.net.
Okay, you're on. We're here live from Niagara Falls for this year's Spring Festival. Wait, what?
That'll do it.
Great job, Will. You two, what are you doing?
Sorry, Canada. You had a leak.
Look, it's Will Nell and Fred Thompson from American Leak Detection.
American Leak Detection.
Guys, come over here. Come here. All right. Here with me now are the guys with American Leak Detection. Please explain yourselves.
Well, at American Leak Detection, we have been detecting and repairing hidden leaks in your home for more than 25 years, big or small.
And all without damaging your home. We can even repair leaks in your swimming pools, since that time is getting close. Hey, looks like DFW needs us. Just go to AmericanLeakDetection.com to schedule us to come out. That's AmericanLeakDetection.com.
You want to feel connected, informed, included, inspired. So when important things happen, we're here. Your local radio and TV broadcasters. America's #1 source for news, weather, and information on your radio, TV, computer, tablet, and smartphone. We are broadcasters, always here for you, wherever here may be. Tell Washington local stations matter by texting radio to 52886. Furnished by NAB and the station. Message and data rates may apply.
660 AM. 660 AM. The Answer. 660 AM. TheAnswer.com. Is anybody out there paying attention to what's going on in this country, in this state, and in this city? We know one man who is. You got questions? He's got answers. This is the Wells Report with Jon-David Wells on 660 AM. The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. What I want to do here is I want to go through this decision today, and I want to spend the first half hour of this hour allowing you to say whatever it is that you want to say, whether you are supportive of this decision, whether you are not supportive of this decision, whether you believe it makes the country better, worse, or doesn't really have much of a change for you in any way. Join us at 866-660-5759, 866-660-5759. Join us and tell us what you think. We're very interested in hearing what you have to say. 866-660-5759. So Justice Anthony Kennedy wrote the opinion for the majority that found that same-sex marriage was perfectly and completely protected by the Constitution. Here's what he had to say. The challenge laws burden the liberty of same-sex couples, and they abridge central precepts of equality. The marriage laws at issue are in essence unequal. Same-sex couples are denied benefits afforded opposite-sex couples and are barred from exercising a fundamental right. Especially against a long history of disapproval of their relationships, this denial works a grave and continuing harm, serving to disrespect and subordinate gays and lesbians. I'm going to make some comments here. One interesting thing that worked to the detriment of those who disbelieve that same-sex marriage should exist is the fact that indeed laws of the land have extended unequal opportunities to those who are married and those who are not married. In other words, there have been benefits to being married that were denied people that were denied marriage. That was an essential part of the case for same-sex marriage here. By the way, in referencing the long history of disapproval of their relationship, I think that the majority in this particular case, this is my opinion, I believe that what they do is they blame those of us who disagree with their decision for sins of the past. It's not the court's need to even bring up the fact that there have been disapproval of same-sex relationships. That has nothing to do with the law. It has nothing to do with anything. Let me get to Therese in Flower Mound. Therese, thanks very much for joining us. Welcome to the Wells Report. Hi.
Hey, good evening, sir. How are you tonight?
Good. Thanks for asking.
Good. I'm real disappointed. I believe this tramples on the Constitution, the meaning of law in this country, religious rights, states' rights, and I believe you can respect people and give people their dignity, but at that same time, I think we have to look at what does the Constitution and the meaning of law really mean. And that's just been neglected in this whole process.
Thanks very much, Therese. I appreciate it. 866-660-5759. Would like to hear your statement tonight as to what you believe of this decision. By the way, yesterday's decision regarding Obamacare and the subsidies, right? In that decision, the Supreme Court showed a remarkable deference to settled law. Not so much settled law, let me rephrase, to laws that were passed in the legislative process. In other words, it was not what the Supreme Court wanted to do, which is to set aside a very large legislative entitlement because it was voted on by the legislature. Isn't it interesting that this very same court did not treat the Defense of Marriage Act that way in any way, shape, or form? Isn't that interesting? At least it is to me. You know, the most difficult thing for me to deal with in this is the abject inconsistency of what this court does or does not believe in, will affirm or will not affirm. You have no idea what this court's going to come up with next. Let me continue with the opinion of the majority. By the way, once again, please do join us with your thoughts on the Supreme Court decision today regarding same-sex marriage. Same-sex marriage or same-sex couples may exercise the fundamental right to marry. Baker versus Nelson is overruled. The state laws challenged by petitioners in these cases are held invalid to the extent they exclude same-sex couples from civil marriage on the same terms and conditions as opposite-sex couples. Remember, this is civil marriage here, okay? They are not talking about marriage from a religious standpoint. Everything that the court dealt with today has to do with civil marriage. The 14th Amendment requires states to recognize same-sex marriage validity performed out of state. Since same-sex couples may now exercise the fundamental right to marry in all states, there is no lawful basis for a state to refuse to recognize a lawful same-sex marriage performed in another state on the ground of its same-sex character. So that was essentially the gist of the decision today. All right. There was another thing that I think you need to know. The Due Process Clause and the Equal Protection Clause this is from the opinion. The Due Process Clause and the Equal Protection Clause are connected in a profound way, though they set forth independent principles. Rights implicit in liberty and rights secured by equal protection may rest on different precepts and are not always coextensive. Yet in some instances, each may be instructive as to the meaning and reach of the other. The reason I bring this to you is because this is one of those things that was referred to in the dissent. From the opinion of the majority, in any particular case, one clause may be thought to capture the essence of the right in a more accurate and comprehensive way, even though as the two clauses may converge in the identification and definition of the right. This interrelation of the two principles furthers our understanding of what freedom is and must become. The interesting thing about that is that, once again, Justice Antonin Scalia is completely brilliant in his dissent. Let me give you a little bit of it. This is from Justice Antonin Scalia in his dissent. This is a naked judicial claim to the legislative, indeed super legislative power, a claim fundamentally at odds with our system of government. Except as limited by a constitutional prohibition agreed to by the people, the states are free to adopt whatever laws they like, even those that offend the esteemed justices' reasoned judgment. The sarcasm in this is just rife. A system of government that makes the people subordinate to a committee of 9 unelected lawyers does not deserve to be called a democracy. These are all very strong statements. The strikingly unrepresentative character of the body voting on today's social upheaval would be irrelevant if they were functioning as judges, answering the legal question whether the American people had ever ratified a constitutional provision that was understood to proscribe traditional definitions of marriage. But of course, the justices in today's majority are not voting on that basis. They say they are not. And to allow the policy question of same-sex marriage to be considered and resolved by a select, patrician, highly unrepresentative panel of 9 is to violate a principle even more fundamental than no taxation without representation. That is, no social transformation without representation. Brilliant. But what really astounds is the hubris reflected in today's judicial push or putsch. The 5 justices who compose today's majority are entirely comfortable concluding that every state violated the Constitution for all 135 years between the 14th Amendment's ratification and Massachusetts permitting same-sex marriages in 2003. They have discovered in the 14th Amendment a fundamental right overlooked by every person alive at the time of the 14th Amendment's ratification and almost everyone else in the time since. They see what lesser legal minds like Thomas Cooley, John Marshall Harlan, Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr., Learned Hand, Louis Brandeis, William Howard Taft, Benjamin Cardozo, Hugo Black, Felix Frankfurter, Robert Jackson, and Henry Friendly could not. That is as sarcastic as any Supreme Court justice has ever been, at least in the modern age. Referring to the justices that he shares the bench with, they are certain that the people ratified the 14th Amendment to bestow on them the power to remove questions from the democratic process when that is called for by their, quote, reasoned judgment, unquote. These justices know that limiting marriage to one man and one woman is contrary to reason. They know that an institution as old as government itself and accepted by every nation in history until 15 years ago cannot possibly be supported by anything other than ignorance or bigotry. And they are willing to say that any citizen who does not agree with that, who adheres to what was until 15 years ago the unanimous judgment of all generations and all societies, stands against the Constitution. Then he gets into the actual opinion itself and starts really garbaging Justice Kennedy's writing. The opinion is couched in a style that is as pretentious as its content is egotistic. It is one thing for separate concurring or dissenting opinions to contain extravagances, even silly extravagances of thought and expression. It is something else for the official opinion to the court to do so. Of course, the opinion's showy profundities are often profoundly incoherent. Then he starts getting into what I was talking about regarding the clauses that we discussed earlier, the equal protection clause, and hang on a minute here, I got it right here, and the due process clause. The nature of marriage is that through its enduring bond, 2 persons together can find other freedoms such as expression, intimacy, and spirituality. That is Justice Scalia quoting from the original opinion. Then he goes, really? Whoever thought that intimacy and spirituality, whatever that means, were freedoms? And if intimacy is, one would think freedom of intimacy is abridged rather than expanded by marriage. Ask the nearest hippie. Expression, sure enough, is a freedom, but anyone in a long-standing marriage will attest that happy states constricts rather than expands what one can prudently say. Am I the only one that gets this? I'm the only one that gets this. Everybody else is sleeping? Is that right? Okay. Rights, we're told, can rise from a better informed understanding of how constitutional imperatives define a liberty that remains urgent in our own era. He writes, huh? How can a better formed understanding of how constitutional imperatives, whatever that means, define whatever that means, an urgent liberty, never mind, give birth to a right? And we are told that in any particular case, either the equal protection or due process clause, quote, may be thought to capture the essence of a right in more accurate and comprehensive ways than the other, even as the two clauses may converge in the identification and definition of the right. And then Scalia says, what say? What possible essence does substantive due process capture in an accurate and comprehensive way? It stands for nothing whatever, except those freedoms and entitlements this court really likes. And in the Equal Protection Clause as employed today, identifies nothing except a difference in treatment that this court really dislikes. Hardly a distillation of essence. If the opinion is correct that the two clauses converge in the identification and definition of a right, it is only because the majority likes and dislikes are predictably compatible. Ouch! Whoa! There's more. And once again, your thoughts are welcome as well. Join us, 866-660-5759. You are listening to The Wells Report.
How will the future affect the money decisions you make now? Find out Saturday morning with Jerry Tuma and John Criswell on Smart Money. Smart Money will bring you the latest information regarding financial markets and what it means to you and your investment and retirement portfolio. Not knowing could be costly. Smart Money, a voice of experience and integrity, with Jerry Tuma and John Criswell. Tomorrow morning at 8 on 660 AM. The Answer.
Our country was built upon the foundation of strong men and women who had a vision for what America should look like decades ahead. From the brave soldiers who battled for our freedom to the police and firemen who keep us safe here at home. These are the people who have built the foundation that can support America for years to come. Foundations are just as important for your home as those men and women are for our beautiful country. And that's why Alliance Foundation is here to help. At Alliance Foundation, they know just what your home needs. It may not be the cheapest quote out there, but it's definitely going to be the one that does the job right. Wouldn't you rather take the time to have it done right the first time and not have to go do it over again? Alliance Foundation knows that you don't put a Band-Aid on something that needs stitches. Alliance Foundation also wants to give all former and current military, as well as emergency servicemen, a 10% discount on all their jobs. So go online to AllianceFoundationRepairTexas.com. That's AllianceFoundationRepairTexas.com. The Dallas Morning News reported that an uninsured man went to a local hospital for an abdominal CT scan and was then charged $27,200. At the local hospital, a CT scan of 3 body sections comes to $81,600. Mark Davis has been telling you for years what a deal the ViaScan is, as it scans the same 3 sections, chest, abdomen, and pelvis, for only $695. The ViaScan is a whopping savings of over $80,000. And for this week only, if you work in the financial services sector, take another $100 off the ViaScan body scan, making your cost just $595. Call ViaScan now at 972-739-2840 and get the most advanced prevention and wellness scan for early detection of heart and cancer issues, or just give yourself a little peace of mind. All for the incredible price of $595 for financial sector employees or $695 for all others. ViaScan, 972-739-2840.
We are visiting our friend Chef Tom Fleming at Crossroads Diner. What do you have cooking today, Tom?
Have you had a chicken piccata? Come on, say it with me. Piccata. Haven't heard of it? Sorry for you, bro. We pan-sear our own chicken and lemon and capers in a sauce so good, you want to swim in it. We call it the backstroke sauce. But the real stars of the dish are the herb-roasted Yukon potatoes. Trust me, you won't know what you want more of, the chicken or the tater.
Fresh ingredients sure to please any sophisticated palate and taste at affordable diner prices in a casual environment. Crossroads Diner. Come eat with us. We're off of Walnut Hill, just east of 75. Open for breakfast and lunch Tuesday through Sunday, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Or visit us on the web at crossroads-diner.com. Home-style goodness meets traditional diner. Great recipes, fresh ingredients, comfortable environment, and genuine hospitality are the heart and soul of Crossroads Diner. We'll be waiting for you.
Hi, this is Jamie Woodridge of Berkey's Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electrical Services, now in our 40th year serving Metroplex homeowners. If you are like most people, your home is your biggest investment. Having every system in your home properly maintained so they all operate safely and efficiently is not only important, but helps keep your home's resale value high. Your air conditioning system is operating as it should, your plumbing always works, and your electrical system has been inspected. That's peace of mind. Berkey's Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electrical Services offers you that kind of peace of mind with an innovative plan. For one membership fee, all your systems will be kept in tip-top condition, and you will automatically receive special rewards and discounts. You no longer have to wonder if your air conditioning is really working as it should, or if those flickering lights are telling you there's a problem, or if the plumbing will work when company comes. Call 817-717-3885 and ask about Berkey's Peace of Mind plan, or visit us at berkeys.com. Berkey's, we're there when you need us.
License numbers TACLB 41879E and 38424, TECL 30739.
Our sister station.
94.9 KLTY and Interstate Batteries present Celebrate Freedom 25, Saturday, June 27th at South Fork Ranch. Since this is our 25th anniversary of the largest outdoor Christian concert in America, we're bringing in the artists that you love, like Stephen Curtis Chapman, Toby Mac, Third Day, Carrie Job, and many, many more. You've made so many memories over the years at Celebrate Freedom. Get ready to make some more with us. Sponsored by Dallas Baptist University, Winco Foods, City of Southlake, and Quick Car.
660 AM, The Answer. 660 AM, TheAnswer.com. Now, The Wells Report with Jon-David Wells on 660 AM, The Answer.
You are listening to The Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. Let me give you some more of Chief Justice John Roberts' dissent. All of these dissents are wonderful. Do we have this stuff up on the Wells Report page of 6? Yes, we do. Okay, so you can read all of these on 660amtheanswer.com. You can go to the Wells Report page. All of these dissents and opinions are on that page. You should read them. They're not terrible, as you can tell. I mean, Scalia is just a genius writer. He's an amazing legal mind. He's exactly, in reading this, right? It makes you wonder, would he have won the case had he been arguing it? I believe he would have.
Yes.
Yeah, the answer is yes, which means that he is exactly the right man in exactly the right job. One of the greatest lawyers to ever walk into a courtroom, along with the rest of them. Agree with them, disagree with them. But these are serious.
They're 9 of the best lawyers in the nation.
They are. They are the arguably the 9 best lawyers in the nation. No doubt about it. Now, there may be some gunslingers out there that are for whatever reason, thought of subjectively as being better or worse. But the thing about it is this, okay? The Supreme Court is not a terrible institution. It is, however, taking a political bent which damages our faith in it. This is what Chief Justice John Roberts talks about here. The majority's decision is an act of will, not legal judgment. The right it announces has no basis in the Constitution or this court's precedent. The majority expressly disclaims judicial caution and omits even a pretense of humility, openly relying on its desire to remake society according to its own, quote, new insight into the nature of injustice, unquote. As a result, the court invalidates the marriage laws of more than half the states and orders the transformation of a social institution that has formed the basis of human society for millennia. For the Kalahari Bushmen, the Han Chinese, the Carthaginians, the Aztecs. Just who do we think we are? Oh. Think about that. I mean, the ego in this decision just reeks. I mean, it's amazing. If a same-sex couple has the constitutional right to marry because their children would otherwise suffer the stigma of knowing their families are somehow lesser, why wouldn't the same reasoning apply to a family of 3 or more persons raising children? If not having the opportunity to marry serves to disrespect and subordinate gay and lesbian couples, why wouldn't the same imposition of this disability serve to disrespect and subordinate those people who find fulfillment in polyamorous relationships? The majority's understanding of due process lays out a tantalizing vision of the future for the members of this court. Listen. If an unvarying social institution enduring over all of recorded history cannot inhibit judicial policymaking, what can? Justice John Roberts has just laid it on the table. The court is creating a right out of whole cloth. They are making law out of what they consider to be a better understanding of injustice than you and I have. And if they would do this in an institution or to define an institution thousands of years old, what would stop them from redefining anything else that comes across their attention span? I doubt very sincerely anything. There's more. This is the Wells Report on 660 AM The Answer.
The Mike Gallagher Show.
What happens to colleges and faith-based institutions after the Supreme Court ruled in favor of gay marriage? Will churches be forced to marry couples? Will the government punish those who believe in traditional marriage? This decision has opened up a lot of issues that have to be addressed. Also, I'll have the latest on the terror attacks in France and Tunisia. ISIS is on the march.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 10, right before Dennis Prager at noon on 660 AM The Answer.
Hi, this is Andy Tuttle, host of Tuttle Talk every Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer. We're in a real estate market where there's a lot of difficulty, but in difficulty, there's a lot of opportunity as well. Buying, selling, avoiding foreclosure, modifying your credit, all these things are so important to your livelihood. This show is dedicated to cutting through some of the big headlines that you see out there and teaching you how to win in any marketplace. Thank you for tuning in to Tuttle Talk every Sunday, 4 p.m. on 660 AM The Answer. I look forward to speaking with you.
Hey everybody, Mark Davis from my friends at Good Feet. I've been proud for years to send you to the Good Feet locations in Plano and in Fort Worth. And now I'm really glad to tell you about the third Good Feet location, South Lake, Texas, right there at 2615 East South Lake Boulevard, a couple of blocks east of Town Square on South Lake Boulevard between Kimball and Nolan. Know what happens in there? The same great results you've always gotten in Plano and in Fort Worth. Real people taking care of real foot problems. Foot pain can spread. It can become leg pain, hip pain, back pain. Let's get you out of pain. At goodfeetdfw.com, learn about all the locations, brand new in South Lake. Plano, still on the corner of Coit and the Bush Turnpike in front of Central Market. Fort Worth, 1 block south of I-20 on Bryant Irvin. And brand new Good Feet in South Lake, 2615 East South Lake Boulevard, 2 blocks east of Town Square. It's Good Feet, getting people out of pain today. America's #1 arch support. Check them out at goodfeetdfw.com. That's goodfeetdfw.com, Plano, Fort Worth, and South Lake.
We've been hearing a lot about Uber lately, so we decided to get out there and talk to some actual Uber partners to get our questions answered.
Is signing up to drive with Uber really hard?
Nope, signing up with Uber is super easy.
It was simple and easy. Okay, but can I drive my own car?
Yes. You get to drive your own car.
But my roommate doesn't even have a car. Can she drive with Uber?
They can help her get a car too.
I wouldn't be able to get a vehicle if it wasn't for Uber. It took me less than 6 hours to get a car.
So you could just sign up and earn money.
Sign up, drive, and you make some money.
You're saying I can just use the smartphone app to make money whenever I want?
Yeah, you just open the app whenever you feel like driving.
All I have to do is turn on my phone, hit the road, and I start making money.
Are the hours good?
I work less hours and I make more money.
I'm my own boss now, so I set my own hours.
Okay, this all sounds pretty great. What do you think I should do?
You need to sign up for Uber.
You can make serious life-changing money when you drive with Uber. Get started today at drivewithuber.com. That's drivewithuber.com. Drivewithuber.com.
The 2015 Coupera features plush leather seating that will feel to your hemorrhoids like sitting on lava-hot knitting needles.
Not if you step up to relief with the power of 2 from Preparation H. First, use Preparation H medicated wipes to soothe as they clean. Then Preparation H maximum strength cream to relieve pain and burning.
Now sink into that rich upholstery. Luxurious.
Preparation H. Don't stand for hemorrhoids. Use as directed.
And try specially formulated medicated wipes for women.
This year, the stock market hit all-time highs, but will you know when it's time to get out? If you're retired or retiring soon and your investments won't survive a stock market crash, protect them now.
This is Ken Moraith, host of the Money Matters radio show, inviting you to our free seminar.
The seminar is 7 p.m. Tuesday, June 30th at Hilton Garden in Denton. Clients that followed Ken's advice were out of the market for all of 2008. Reserve at moneymatters.net. That's moneymatters.net, or call 800-994-0302.
Performance Bicycle, where great rides begin, has created an event so big, there's only one way to say it. Everything's on sale. Now through Sunday, everything's on sale. Everything over 3,000 items reduced for this once-a-year event. Every road, mountain, neighborhood, and kids bike on sale. Every helmet, jersey, short, shoe, part, accessory on sale. Plus doorbusters up to 70% off. Performance Bicycles, everything's on sale event ends Sunday. Go to performancebike.com for locations. Some exclusions may apply. Visit performancebike.com for details.
Flo from Progressive here, making deliveries with Greta, who has her own flower shop. Greta's Great Green Thumb. Yep. Greta is saving a bunch of money on her commercial auto insurance with discounts like Safe Driver, Business Experience, and Paid in Full. Right, Greta?
Righty-o.
Righty-roo.
Correct-amundo.
Yes, sirree.
Wait, who are you calling sir?
What? No one. I thought we were doing a thing. No?
Yeah, no.
Discounts to save your business money. Visit Progressive.com to learn more. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
660 AM, The Answer. The Wells Report. Must hear radio on 660 AM, The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. Thanks very much for being a part of this broadcast. It's been a very important one today. There are some other things that I've got to cover, but I want to finish this with some very important words from Chief Justice John Roberts. Right? I want to read the end of these excerpts for you. We left off with this. The majority's understanding of due process lays out a tantalizing vision of the future for members of this court. If an unvarying social institution enduring over all of recorded history cannot inhibit judicial policymaking, what can? This approach is dangerous for the rule of law. The purpose of insisting that implied fundamental rights have roots in the history and traditions of our people is to ensure that when unelected judges strike down democratically enacted laws, they do so based on something more than their own beliefs. The court today not only overlooks our country's entire history and tradition, but actively repudiates it, preferring to live only in the heady days of the here and now. When decisions are reached through democratic means, some people will inevitably be disappointed with the results. But those whose views do not prevail at least know that they have had their say, and accordingly are, in the tradition of our political culture, reconciled to the result of a fair and honest debate. In addition, they can gear up to raise the issue later, hoping to persuade enough on the winning side to think again. That is exactly how our system of government is supposed to work. But today, the court puts a stop to all that. By deciding this question under the Constitution, the court removes it from the realm of democratic decision. Listen carefully to this. There will be consequences to shutting down the political process on an issue of such profound public significance. Closing debate tends to close minds. People denied a voice are less likely to accept the ruling of a court on an issue that does not seem to be the sort of thing courts usually decide. The court has harmed itself here. Indeed, that was my opinion, by the way. Back to the news. Indeed, however heartened the proponents of the same-sex marriage might be on this day, it is worth acknowledging what they have lost. This is important. I'm gonna try to draw your attention to this, okay? Listen to this paragraph because it's so poignant and so true. Indeed, however heartened the proponents of same-sex marriage might be on this day, it is worth acknowledging what they have lost, and have lost forever. The opportunity to win the true acceptance that comes from persuading their fellow citizens of the justice of their cause. My opinion. Proponents of same-sex marriage have forever damaged their relationship with the society at large, because the society at large disagrees with them, as demonstrated not by polling, not by guesswork, by votes in 31 states repudiating same-sex marriage. Same-sex marriage is the law of the land because of 5 people who created a right out of nothing. That's not my opinion. That's the opinion of Sam Alito, Antonin Scalia, John Roberts, and Clarence Thomas. They all say this. They have lost forever. The winners, the quote, winners of this case have lost forever the opportunity to win the true acceptance that comes with persuading their fellow citizens of the justice of their cause. My opinion, in replacement of this, all they can do is bully us into acquiescence. All they can do is threaten us into agreeing or appearing to agree. That's all they can do. I have said on this broadcast that civil unions were the way for these people to go, but they wanted to trample everyone, and they've done it. That is going to leave bad blood behind, ill will, and it will be silent ill will as mandated by the fascist dealings of these, quote, winners with those who disagree with them. Witness the fact that people who don't bake cakes for gay weddings are indeed being punished by politicians and by the legal industry. Back with more of Chief Justice John Roberts' dissent. Quote, federal courts are blunt instruments when it comes to creating rights. They have constitutional power only to resolve concrete cases or controversies. They do not have the flexibility of legislatures to address concerns of parties not before the court, or to anticipate problems that may arise from the exercise of a new right. Today's decision, for example, creates serious questions about religious liberty. Many good and decent people oppose same-sex marriage as a tenet of faith, and their freedom to exercise religion is, unlike the right imagined by the majority, actually spelled out in the Constitution. Respect for sincere religious conviction has led voters and legislators in every state that has adopted same-sex marriage to democratically include accommodations for religious practice. The majority's decision imposing same-sex marriage cannot, of course, create any such accommodations. By the way, those states that adopted same-sex marriage democratically, there are 2 of them. Just 2. The majority graciously suggests their religious believers, or that the religious believers may continue to advocate and teach their views of marriage. How nice. The First Amendment guarantees, however, the freedom to exercise religion. Ominously, that is not a word the majority uses. Perhaps the most discouraging aspect of today's decision is the extent to which the majority feels compelled to sully those on the other side of the debate. The majority offers a cursory assurance that it does not intend to disparage people who, as a matter of conscience, cannot accept same-sex marriage. That disclaimer is hard to square with the very next sentence, in which the majority explains, quote, the necessary consequence, unquote, of laws codifying the traditional definition of marriage is to demean or stigmatize same-sex couples. The majority reiterates such characterizations over and over, but the majority's account, Americans who did nothing more than follow the understandings of marriage that has existed for our entire history, in particular, the tens of millions of people who voted to reaffirm their state's enduring definition of marriage, have acted to lock out, disparage, disrespect, and subordinate and inflict dignitary wounds upon their gay and lesbian neighbors. These apparent assaults on the character of fair-minded people will have an effect in society and in court. Moreover, they are entirely gratuitous. It is one thing for the majority to conclude the Constitution protects a right to same-sex marriage. It is something else to portray everyone who does not share the majority's better-informed understanding as bigoted. If you are among the many Americans of whatever sexual orientation who favor expanding same-sex marriage, by all means celebrate today's decision. Celebrate the achievement of a desired goal. Celebrate the opportunity for a new expression of commitment to a partner. Celebrate the availability of new benefits. But do not celebrate the Constitution. It had nothing to do with this decision. Wow. Wow. Just absolutely incredible. Justice Clarence Thomas. The court's decision today is at odds with not only the Constitution, but with the principles upon which our nation was built. Since well before 1787, liberty has been understood as freedom from government action, not entitlements to government benefits. The framers created our Constitution to preserve that understanding of liberty. Yet the majority invokes our Constitution in the name of a liberty the framers would have not recognized, to the detriment of liberty they sought to protect. Along the way, it rejects the idea, captured in our Declaration of Independence, that human dignity is innate and suggests that it comes from the government. This distortion of our Constitution not only ignores the text, it inverts the relationship between the individual and the state in our republic. I cannot agree with it. Our Constitution, like the Declaration of Independence before it, was predicated on simple truth. One's liberty, not to mention one's dignity, was something to be shielded from, not provided by, the state. Today's decision casts that truth aside. In its haste to reach a desired result, the majority misapplies a clause focused on due process to afford substantive rights, disregards the most plausible understanding of the liberty protected by that clause, and distorts the principles on which this nation was founded. Its decision will have inestimable consequences for our Constitution and our society. Justice Samuel Alito. The system of federalism established by our Constitution provides a way for people with different beliefs to live together in a single nation. If the issue of same-sex marriage had been left to the people of the states, it's likely some states would recognize same-sex marriage, others would not. It is also possible some states would tie recognition to protection for conscience rights. The majority today makes that impossible. By imposing its own view on the entire country, the majority facilitates the marginalization of many Americans who have traditional ideas. Recalling the harsh treatment of gays and lesbians in the past, some may think that turnabout is fair play. But if that sentiment prevails, the nation will experience bitter and lasting wounds. Today's decision will have a fundamental effect on this court and its ability to uphold the rule of law. If a bare majority of justices can invent a new right and impose that right on the rest of the country, the only real limit on what future majorities will be able to do is their own sense of what those with political power and cultural influence are willing to tolerate. Even enthusiastic supporters of same-sex marriage should worry about the scope of the power that today's majority claims. Today's decision shows that decades of attempts to restrain this court's abuse of its authority have failed. A lesson that some will take from today's decision is that preaching about proper method of interpreting the Constitution or the virtues of judicial self-restraint and humility cannot compete with the temptation to achieve what is viewed as a noble end by any practicable means. I do not doubt my colleagues in the majority sincerely see in the Constitution a vision of liberty that happens to coincide with their own. But this sincerity is cause for concern, not comfort. What it evidences is the deep and perhaps irremediable corruption of our legal culture's conception of constitutional interpretation. Most Americans, understandably, will cheer or lament today's decision because of their views on the issue of same-sex marriage. But all Americans, whatever their thinking is on that issue, should worry about the majority's claim of power and what it portends. In the past, I have brought up this court's willingness to redefine marriage as something that would cause them to enter the biblical realm. In this decision, they pretend the Bible does not exist. And yet, marriage is defined for all people in that holy writ. This Supreme Court has seen fit to ignore the Bible, which is its only course of action. Because truly, if it had gone into the Bible to redefine it on that basis, they would have found themselves at odds with the First Amendment of the Constitution guaranteeing religious freedom and liberty, and the free practice thereof. In order to avoid that irreparable conflict, they simply ignore the Bible, as do those people who believe that same-sex marriage is right and true, and indeed a right in this Constitution and this country. As so many that I have just quoted have said at the end of their dissents, I respectfully dissent. The nation was damaged today, in my view. That doesn't mean that it has to be yours, but it certainly has been damaged in mine. This is the Wells Report.
Hi, this is Howard Garrett, the Dirt Doctor. I'd like for you to join me on my talk show this weekend. What I do is teach people how to go the natural, organic route. I stir up trouble, too, because I throw out some things that a lot of people just don't think are correct. You know what? We have a lot of experience to back up what we recommend. Have healthier gardens and more fun gardening. Join me this and every weekend.
Join Howard Garrett, the Dirt Doctor, every Sunday morning from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. right here on 660 a.m. The Answer.
This is a life-changing message for anyone with sleep apnea who is on the go and tired of dragging around a big, bulky home CPAP device. MiniCPAP.com now offers a portable device that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. For even more freedom, you can add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. It's called the Transcend Mini CPAP, and right now you can try it risk-free for 21 days by calling 1-800-528-5588. Transcend is the world's first portable mini CPAP device. It gives you the freedom to sleep in total comfort anywhere you are. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is so small and so light you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. Call minicpap.com now for your 21-day in-home trial. 1-800-528-5588. That's 1-800-528-5588.
Spring cleaning time. Man, out with the old and in with the new. It's when we all take a walk around the house and look at all of those things that have deteriorated over the last 5 months. We're all cave dwellers at heart. The ideal situation is to make your cave as airtight as possible. The way that you do that is with vinyl replacement window. You come in, you pull out those leaky old windows. One of the things about Texas is it is just miserably hot sometimes. One of the greatest things you can do is make it to where that heat just stays outside. There has absolutely never been a better time to invest in yourself and your home instead of the electric company. My name is Dave Trainer, and the name of my company is The Window Connection. I would value the opportunity to come to your home and let you know what new vinyl replacement windows can really do to help you and your family.
Call the Window Connection for an estimate at 972-620-1994. That's 972-620-1994. Or go online to thewindowconnection.net.
Howdy, folks. Crazy Gun Dealer here, and I love the 4th of July. Family picnics, watermelon, fireworks. But don't forget, we're celebrating our independence. An independence that seems to get smaller and smaller every day. So what better way to exercise your freedom than buying a new gun? While they last, celebrate your freedom with a new Taurus stainless steel .380 pocket pistol, normal Bottle retails $362. In-store only, your cost $179 with the purchase of a box of ammo. That's right, only $179. And you still get free CHO classes, a free lifetime warranty, free range membership, and free test firing with purchase. That's the Crazy Gun Dealer in Alvarado, just 30 minutes south of Dallas and 20 minutes south of Fort Worth. Remember, if we don't already have the best gun price you've found, we'll beat any price anywhere, gun to gun, or we'll just give you the gun for free. And why do we do this? Because nobody wants your gun business more than the Crazy Gun Dealer. For more info, visit crazygundealer.com or give us a call at 855-329-4867. That's 855-329-GUNS.
All offers and promotions subject to change or restrictions. See store for complete details.
We are visiting our friend Chef Tom Fleming at Crossroads Diner. What do you have cooking today, Tom?
Let me ask you a question. Where you been getting your fried yardbird on lately? I know what you're thinking. Yeah, it's fried chicken. Well, at the diner, we do it a little bit different. Hand pounded, hand breaded, fried to order, and it comes with the best smooth, warm, creamy brie cheese. And then we top it with, oh my God, I can't even believe this, a tomato caper relish that is just out of this world. So if you've been eating fried yardbird somewhere else, come by the Crossroads Diner because my yardbird's the best.
Fresh ingredients sure to please any sophisticated palate and taste at affordable diner prices in a casual environment. Crossroads Diner. Come eat with us. We're off of Walnut Hill, just east of 75. Open for breakfast and lunch Tuesday through Sunday, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Or visit us on the web at crossroads-diner.com. Homestyle goodness meets traditional diner. Great recipes, fresh ingredients, comfortable environment, and genuine hospitality are the heart and soul of Crossroads Diner. We'll be waiting for you.
Realtors have expertise in land development and management, retail, industrial, office, and investment properties. They have the experience, knowledge, and savvy to help you achieve your business and investment real estate goals. Realtors also have the power of the National Association of Realtors behind them, working with legislators and regulators to support the key role commercial real estate plays in our national economy. Ask for a professional who understands your commercial business. Ask for a realtor. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
If you've got questions, we've got answers. 660 AM. The Answer. The Wells Report is on 660 AM. The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. By the way, let's go with one quick thing here before we abandon this particular topic. Pastor Robert Jeffress in today's Fox News says this: one does not have to be a homophobe or bigot to believe the Supreme Court made a tragic error today in creating out of thin air an imaginary right for gay marriage. Friday's landmark mistake will have legal, sociological, and spiritual consequences for years to come. First, consider the legal ramifications. By enshrining gay marriage as a civil right, the court will be opening a floodgate of litigation against individuals and businesses that refuse to honor same-sex marriages because of religious convictions. After all, if gay marriage is a civil right, then anyone who opposes it is guilty of a civil rights violation. We have already seen bakeries, florists, wedding chapels sued, and in some cases put out of business because of their refusal to participate in gay wedding ceremonies. Expect these suits to accelerate exponentially now that progressives have been emboldened and armed with the Supreme Court decision. Additionally, we can expect both civil and governmental actions against religious institutions that refuse to honor gay marriage as a civil right. During the oral arguments for the case April 28th, Justice Samuel Alito asked the Solicitor General for the Obama administration, Donald Verrilli, if the decision expanding the definition of marriage would require religious colleges to offer housing to same-sex couples or risk losing their tax-exempt status. Verrilli responded repeatedly, "I don't deny that's going to be an issue." It is. You are listening to the Wells Report.
The Dennis Prager Show.
I have been saying for years that if you can identify as the other sex, then there is no reason you cannot identify as another race. Once you break down the barriers to objective reality, and all reality becomes subjective, I am what I feel, then it should apply to everything. You are what you feel.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at noon, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on 660 AM. The Answer.
Hi, this is Jon-David Wells from the Wells Report for my good friend Walt Parker. Walter, you picked kind of a silly name for a very serious business.
Yes, I hear that a lot, JD. But our goal is to allow our customers to not get sick when they are investing. We give them the education they need to make confident decisions about their future. Here are my personal top 5 reasons how InvestingMakesMeSick.com can help you. 1, there's more to investing than stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and annuities. 2, every client is important to us. 3, knowledge is power, and we can provide that knowledge. 4, every investor is different, and we have many different options for each person. 5, we value your time and offer our We Come to You service.
What are your top 5 reasons for investing? Schedule an appointment with Walt Parker and his team at 972-463-3833. That's 972-463-3833. Or check out their all-new website at investingmakesmesick.com. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Titan Securities. Member of FINRA SIPC. Investment subject to suitability. Risk and expenses may apply. Investingmakesmesick.com and Titan Securities are not affiliated.
Dentist office, may I help you?
Hi, I'd like to cancel my teeth whitening appointment.
Oh, may I ask why?
I found a teeth whitener that works in 5 minutes that I can do from home.
Can I ask what it is?
It's called Power Swabs, and it whitens your teeth in 5 minutes, doesn't leave my teeth feeling sensitive, and it's a lot less expensive than visiting the dentist.
Hi, I'm John Greenhut, the CEO of Power Swabs. And if you want to whiten your teeth 2 shades in 5 minutes and 6 shades in 7 days, then try Power Swabs. There's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth and you're done. It removes stains on natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. Try Power Swabs risk-free by calling 1-800-281-4037. That's 1-800-281-4037. I guarantee your friends and coworkers will be wowed by your new white smile. Try it risk-free and get free shipping and handling today. Dial 1-800-281-4037. That's 1-800-281-4037.
This is 660 AM, The Answer. A service of Salem Media Group. On the NASDAQ as SALM, KSKY, Balch Springs, Dallas, Fort Worth. 660 AM, The Answer.
Fox News Radio, I'm Gary Baumgarten. One of those escaped murderers from a prison in upstate New York has been shot and killed.
You never want to see anyone lose their life. But I would remind people that Mr. Matt was an escaped murderer.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo says Richard Matt's accomplice, David Sweat, is still on the loose. The U.S. Supreme Court ruling that gay marriage is legal in all 50 states.
Justice Anthony Kennedy concludes the 14th Amendment requires states to license a marriage between two people of the same sex and recognize a same-sex union lawfully performed out of state.
Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern and the White House lit up in colors of a rainbow in celebration. Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson urging Americans to be vigilant ahead of July 4th holiday following 3 terrorist attacks overseas. Fox News, we report, you decide.
This is 660 AM, The Answer.
Each week and every Saturday afternoon, whether you're remodeling an existing house or building a new one, doing it yourself or hiring a professional, we're here to bring you interviews with the experts and take your phone calls. And we bring it to you with a little green, whether it be energy efficiency or organic products for your house. So join us each week for a little House Talk Today.
House Talk Today, tomorrow afternoon from 1 to 3 on 660 AM, The Answer.
Hey, it's Mark Davis. Is there a snoring issue in your house? Are you on the receiving or the delivering end of that? Well, either way, some folks just aren't sleeping right, and some folks face a real health risk from sleep apnea. This was me. A lot of our health depends on the kind of night's sleep we get. So if you got the snoring issue and sleep apnea is the issue, there's the CPAP device, which just doesn't work for some folks. There's surgery, which is, well, surgery. And then there's SimpleSleepServices.com. Check them out, SimpleSleepServices.com. John Truitt and the gang with a magnificent oral appliance. I've got it. It works. It's not the mask. It's not surgery. It's awesome. I love it. You'll love them. And they're in Dallas and Fort Worth. So check them out at either location. Check them out online at SimpleSleepServices.com. Great people to work with. Stop dreaming about a snoring solution and a good night's sleep. If you don't want surgery and the CPAP thing just isn't working, 469-685-1700. 469-685-1700, SimpleSleepServices.com.
Have you ever responded to a great deal on carpet cleaning only to find yourself playing Let's Make a Deal once the crew arrived? When you made your appointment, it was all about discounts, free areas, and maybe even gift with purchase. But when the carpet cleaner arrived, it was an extra charge for this and that, and lots of pressure to buy extra things you didn't want. At Dalworth Clean, we've cleaned over 1 million homes since 1976, and there's a good reason we consistently have an A rating from the Better Business Bureau and win the Consumer's Choice Award year after year. Our focus is on making you happy, not making you spend more. So if the deal sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Call Dalworth Clean instead and find out why after almost 40 years, it's still true. The next best thing to new is Dalworth Clean. Visit Dalworth.com, get a free quote, make your appointment 24/7.
Call 267-8433 because the next best thing to new is Dalworth Clean.
Hey, it's Mark Davis. Got a question. Why is your mobile phone bill going to help Hillary become president of the United States? Answer is, same reason Big Mobile helped Obama win twice. It's what they do. Now Hillary's counting on Big Mobile to help her in 2016. If you're okay with that, don't listen further. But if you don't want to support Hillary or other leftist candidates and causes, switch to EOS Mobile. EOS Mobile. Website is EOScell, EOSCELL.com to learn more. EOS has the same great nationwide network, high-speed data, voice, pretty much everywhere across the country. EOS has the same devices you've come to love. And with plans starting at $9.99, a plan for every budget. Best of all, EOS Mobile at EOScell.com gives 5% of each bill to conservative causes and candidates. If you're stuck in a contract, they'll buy you out. If you want your phone bill to support conservative candidates, the choice is clear. EOScell.com. Learn more now at EOSCELL.com. EOScell.com. Same phones, same service, better causes. EOScell.com, EOSCELL.com.
Hey, this is George at the filling station DFW. You know, I've been talking about the filling station quite a while now, and I want to tell you what I love about those Monday nights at the filling station. It's a special time when people come and sit at the feet of Jesus and then allow him to do what he does naturally. That's save, heal, deliver, and redeem. Yeah, he still does those things today. It's because he can't help himself. It's who he is. Jesus is the same as he was yesterday. He's that same God today, and he's going to be that same Jesus this coming Monday night. So whether you're a believer, non-believer, just someone trying to figure out who Jesus really is, you should come this Monday evening. It was set aside especially for you. Come meet Jesus. He's waiting for you. The filling station DFW meets every Monday evening at 7 p.m. at Summit Life Church. We're in Addison, Texas. Our address is 14240 Midway Road between Beltline and Spring Valley. You can get more information at the Filling Station DFW. That's the Filling Station DFW. Look forward to seeing you there.
Do you want to learn how to mask your identity to browse inappropriate websites and stream media while at the office?
Well, we can't help you with that. But among the many IT problems we solve, Barracuda's web security solutions keep online activity clean and ensure internet bandwidth performance. Reclaim your network, like 150,000 other businesses already have. To learn more about preventing web-based threats, visit barracuda.com/web.
Have you ever considered joining the military but stopped because you couldn't deploy to a foreign country? Believe it or not, the state of Texas has its own military force that stands alongside the Texas National Guard, the Texas Air National Guard, and serves only inside the state of Texas. It's called the Texas State Guard. I'm Tech Sergeant John Wells of the 4th Air Wing, and we're looking for you to join us. Give us a call at 877-398-8350. That's 877-398-8350. If you love Texas as much as we do, join the 4th Air Wing of the Texas State Guard.
660 AM, The Answer. 660 AM, TheAnswer.com. Is anybody out there paying attention to what's going on in this country, in this state, and in this city? We know one man who is. You got questions? He's got answers. This is The Wells Report with Jon-David Wells on 660 AM, The Answer.
You are listening to The Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. Coming up at the bottom of this hour, we've got the Friday Flameout. Your opportunity to whine, moan, groan, complain, gripe, grouse, express your extreme displeasure with whatever it is that happened this week that upset you the most. Not that you have anything to work with this week, of course. This, by the way, can include anything that I may have said. Your helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent announcer. I may have said something that tweaked you in the vexation get-along. If indeed I did that, by all means, contact me and complain. This will be happening at 11:34 this very evening. It's 11:07 now. You only have a few minutes to wait. Without any frivolity, here's some news. Gunmen killed 37 people at a beachfront Tunisian hotel today, the same day terrorists lashed out brutally in France and bombed a mosque in Kuwait. Tunisia's health ministry reported those deaths as well as 36 injuries in and around the Hotel Riu Imperial Marhaba in the coastal Tunisian city of Sousse. This, according to state-run TAP news agency, there were 3 attackers, one of whom was killed, one arrested, one escaped. Interior Ministry spokesman Mohammed Ali Aroui told reporters. A woman from Wales told CNN's Robin Creel that she saw bloodied bodies lying in the sand, people from neighboring hotels jumping over to fences to get to their hotel. She is staying about a mile from the main attack scene, but visitors there still took precautions by putting mattresses up against the doors to slow any gunmen who might try to barge in. The hotel guest said she heard at least 30 seconds of sustained gunfire, though things have become relatively quiet by early that afternoon. On its website, Hotel Riu Imperial Marhaba is described as an all-inclusive hotel with views of Port El Kantaoui. It contains indoor and outdoor pools, including one for children, as well as buffet-style and theme restaurants. By late this afternoon, while blood pooled on the pavement outside the hotel, the building itself appeared relatively calm. Many tourists had evacuated by then. Locals and security forces held sway inside. While the horror appeared to be over, its full extent, including who died and how, remained largely unknown. But what was clear even then was that this was another dark day for Tunisia, and further proof of terrorists' savagery, not just in war-torn regions like Iraq and Syria, but also in far different places where people expect to relax and not fear for their lives. I cry for Tunisia. I cry for Kuwait. I cry for our countries that have become accustomed to blood, gunpowder, and have become foul, treated one woman. Tunisia's nightmare came on the same day as at least 2 deadly terror attacks in other countries. One person was beheaded, 2 others injured at a gas factory near Lyon, France, in the southeastern part of the country, according to French President François Hollande. And ISIS has claimed responsibility for an apparent bomb blast at the Shiite-affiliated Al-Sadiq Mosque in Kuwait's capital city during Friday prayers, leaving at least 25 dead and more than 200 injured. Spain raised its terror alert to a 4 on a 1 to 5 scale, with the higher numbers indicating a bigger threat in light of 3 attacks. Spanish Interior Minister Jorge Fernandez has reported this. Other leaders, like British Prime Minister David Cameron, reacted as well. Quote, I am sickened by the attacks in Tunisia, France, and Kuwait, Cameron tweeted. Our countries stand together in combating the horrors of terrorism. Sajan Gohel, the International Security Director for the Asia Pacific Foundation think tank, said that the confluence of events adds up to an unprecedented day for terrorism. He noted that while questions remain about who was responsible and the extent to which the attacks were coordinated, in each case you have individuals buying into the doctrine that groups like ISIS articulate. While what happened today is rare, Gohel told CNN, people worldwide should brace themselves for more violence to come. Indeed, that violence may indeed occur here in the United States somewhere around July 4th. Authorities are warning of possible terrorist threats around the July 4th holiday, several law enforcement officials are telling CNN. The Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, and the National Counterterrorism Center issued joint intelligence bulletins to law enforcement across the U.S. today. The bulletin does not warn of any known active plots, but serves as a general warning of heightened threats. It says extremists could launch attacks tied to Independence Day or in reaction to perceived defamation of the Prophet Muhammad. CNN reported in recent weeks U.S. law enforcement officials believe the Islamist terror threat to be its highest in years. The officials have raised concern about possible domestic attacks tied to the July 4th holiday and the upcoming visit of Pope Francis. The FBI and the Justice Department's National Security Division have moved aggressively in recent weeks to arrest and charge extremists thought to be plotting attacks or supporting groups such as ISIS. The FBI has increased its surveillance and monitoring of some suspects. Also today, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson issued a statement in response to the attacks in France, Tunisia, and Kuwait, saying in part, quote, particularly with the upcoming July 4th holiday here in the United States, The Department of Homeland Security and the FBI continue to communicate with state and local law enforcement about what we know and see. We are encouraging all law enforcement to be vigilant and prepared, the statement continues. We also will adjust security measures, seen and unseen, as necessary to protect the American people, unquote. The one thing, of course, that you need to keep in mind with that is that you should follow those same orders as well. You should take steps to protect yourself and those you love. You have a dog in this hunt. Please, by all means, protect yourself in the upcoming July 4th holiday. Today, the President of the United States made an impassioned eulogy for the pastor killed along with 8 other churchgoers last week in South Carolina. He was talking about Senator and Reverend Clementa Pinckney. Capping a service filled with rousing gospel numbers, President Obama spoke at length about Pinckney's character, but also race relations. I was truly proud of our president during this eulogy. I learned a lot about the Reverend Pinckney that I did not know. He was a pastor at age 18. He was a public servant by the age of 23. He was a man of the people. He truly walked the walk of his religion and his country. Before the speech devolved into what sadly turned out to be a leftist pep rally, the president sang Amazing Grace. It was truly an inspired moment. Were it not for the fact that the president then jumped into the Confederate flag and gun control and all of those terribly unfortunate things that marred an otherwise brilliant piece of presidential behavior. I would have said that this was my favorite President Obama moment. It was one of the shining examples of what this president could have been, but chose not to be. He was truly very good today. Until he started talking about the Confederate flag and until he talked about weapons and so on. There is another side to the story that I wish this president would embrace. And that is that there should be people who care about their neighbors and their friends and their family, that should arm themselves with ways of stopping madmen as opposed to arming themselves with those God-given tools to rehabilitate and reclaim their souls, the souls of the evil one. One person, one sheepdog overlooking the flock could have saved so many lives. Just one. My dear and beloved neighbors, I truly wish we lived in a different age, but we don't. I wish, as we were discussing earlier, when I discussed the tweet of that woman who said, I am sickened by the attacks in Tunisia, France, and Kuwait. I wish we could be in a place. Here's what she said. I cry for Tunisia. I cry for Kuwait. I cry for our countries that have become accustomed to blood, gunpowder, and have become foul. I truly wish that we did not live in that state. And I don't expect that those who are unwilling or find the idea reprehensible, I don't expect them to do something they don't want to do. But for those of us who have chosen the way of the sheepdog, please remain true to your responsibilities. If you have a CHL carrier weapon, if you have not continued your training, continue your training. There are all kinds of places you can go. Some of them have sponsored this broadcast. Patriot Protection. Go there. Learn the practicalities of the responsibility that your instincts have drawn you to. Protect your neighbor. You may be the only chance they have. You know what I've always said. When seconds count, police are only minutes away. So far, we've done pretty well in this great Lone Star State. So far, we've played cowboys and terrorists pretty darn well. I don't suggest we stop committing to that level of protected quality, do you? Eight 6605759. Coming in just a little bit, we're going to be doing the Friday Flame Out. As I said, your opportunity to whine, moan, groan, complain, gripe, grouse, express your extreme displeasure with whatever it is that drove you the craziest this week, up to and including anything I may have said. We'll get to more of that coming up in just a little bit. In the meantime, join us, 866-660-5759. This is the Wells Report.
The Mark Davis Show.
Mark Davis Show. So, anything we should discuss? It's always odd being away because I start to conduct talk shows in my head, which the family just loves. They are ready for me to be back at work, and I'm ready to return. Tons to address, Monday opportunity to compare notes on weekend stories and things that happened while we were apart. Thanks to Tim O'Hare for filling in, and we will reunite on the Monday show.
The Mark Davis Show. Weekday mornings at 7, right before Mike Gallagher at 10 on 660 AM. The Answer.
The stock market is at record highs, but will it keep going up, or are we due for another major correction? The financial
What? It was a real tragedy when Mike Miles left as superintendent of the DAIS. It was real tragedy when Mike Miles left as the superintendent of the Dallas Independent School District. At least I said, when that happened, I said to myself, well, at least things can't get worse. I was wrong. The DISD Board of Trustees have just, let me try this again. When Mike Miles resigned as superintendent of the DISD, I said, well, at least things can't get any worse. Sadly, I was wrong. Today, the same trustees that ran off Mike Miles named Dr. Michael Hinojosa as the new interim superintendent of the Dallas Independent School District. Hand me a bucket. I'm going to throw up now. We'll discuss this unbelievably stupid decision on the next edition of the Wells Report.
And the only thing wrong with that is it didn't happen today. This promo will run for 3 days.
What did I actually say? What was the actual word?
Today, the school board.
Yes. Okay. Okay. You're not going to believe it, but
It happened on Thursday of last
the school board.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can edit that in, right? Okay. All right, so there we go. Now we'll do the thing. Mark Davis. Mark Davis, welcome back from vacation, my friend. Good to have you back on the radio station. On the next edition of the Wells Report, we're going to discuss how I was wrong yet again about the Dallas Independent School District. You see, when they ran off Mike Miles as the superintendent of the DISD, I was pretty sure things could not possibly get worse. But then I found out that, yes, indeed, things not only could, but have gotten worse. The maniacs that ran off the best chance Dallas kids had at getting a decent education, the Board of Trustees of DISD, have named Dr. Michaelina Hossa as the interim superintendent. Are you kidding me? I guess some mistakes are so good, you just have to keep making them. We'll discuss it next time on the Wells Report.
On the corner of Coit and the Bush Turnpike in front of Central Market, Fort Worth, 1 block south of I-20 on Bryant Irvin, and brand new Good Feet in South Lake, 2615 East South Lake Boulevard, 2 blocks east of Town Square. It's Good Feet, getting people out of pain today. America's #1 arch support. Check them out at goodfeetdfw.com. That's goodfeetdfw.com, Plano, Fort Worth, and South Lake.
Who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks? You can, at least where health is concerned. Listen to what Andy had to say about his experience with the gift.
Nicholas is our 11-year-old golden retriever. I wouldn't characterize him as sick, but he was starting to show his age. He would stop making every trip up and down the stairs and just a little bit more laying around and a little less energy. We started to give him the gift, and within about a couple of weeks, we started to see some bounce in Nicholas's step that we hadn't seen in a while. Much more energy, livelier and more playful, bouncy, almost like a puppy. I attribute that to the gift.
The gift is an all-natural supplement that helps restore youthful vitality, energy, and even healthier behaviors and appearance to dogs and cats. It's safe for any age. Give your pet the gift of its old friskiness and joy. Visit thegiftforpets.com or call 877-673-2536 for a great introductory offer. That's thegiftforpets.com or 877-673-2536.
You can listen on the go. Find us on iHeartRadio, 660 AM. The Answer. If it's important to you, we're talking about it right now on the Wells Report on 660 AM. The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. Before we get to the Friday Flame Out here at the bottom of the hour, I want to talk to you about something that happened that was absolutely infuriating to me. The State Department says it cannot locate 15 Hillary Clinton emails. The State Department said yesterday it cannot locate 15 work-related emails from Hillary Clinton's private server released this week by the Select Committee probing the 2012 Benghazi attacks. That was a revelation that the head of the committee described as significant and troubling. The emails consist of more in a series of intelligence reports passed to Secretary of State Clinton by her longtime political confidant, Sidney Blumenthal. At the least, the existence of the emails turned over by Blumenthal but not by Hillary Clinton directly contradicts her news conference in March in which she claimed all the work emails from her personal server had been turned over to the State Department. That is simply not true. Representative Trey Gowdy, the chairman of the Select Committee on Benghazi, called the revelations significant and troubling. This confirms doubts about the completeness of Clinton's self-selected personal record or public record and raises serious questions about her decision to erase her personal server, especially before it could be analyzed by an independent, neutral third-party arbiter. When asked for comment by Fox News, a Clinton official said not only did she turn over all emails she had from Blumenthal, she actually turned over more than a dozen emails that were not included in what he handed over to the House committee, which is a very good and inspired bit of legerdemain. What they're doing is they're saying, well, there are 15 of them missing, after Secretary Clinton said that she had turned everything over. Nothing that her spokesman said refuted the fact that there were 15 of them missing. In other words, they had 15 copies of the emails that Sidney Blumenthal turned over to the panel, but that Hillary Clinton did not turn over to the panel, which means she was lying. In the promo that ran before I would talk about this, I said, is it possible to impeach Hillary Clinton and remove her from the office of president before she's been nominated by the Democrat Party? The answer to that question, of course, is yes. It is quite possible. But it's going to require something I haven't seen in the Democrat Party in a long, long time. Something besides stumbling android-like blind allegiance to whatever the party politic is begging for next. You see, this woman is dishonest. She is dishonest in ways that can't be spun away. I don't know that our nation could handle another chief executive that has only a passing acquaintance with truth. I'm reasonably sure, in fact, that it couldn't. One more cynical president who doesn't care about the nation and only about what this nation can provide to them, in absolute opposition to what John Kennedy said in 1960, might just do us in. We are going to have to fight for this nation if we want it. We are going to have to do what the media says is stupid in order to save the country from those people who would destroy it for their own political gain. Are you up to that challenge? The Friday Flameout is coming up next. Join us to complain. This is the Wells Report.
Sean Hannity thinks we're missing the bigger picture.
Fine, take the flag down. But I want to point out something here. If you think that flag is going to stop the next Dylan Roof from committing an atrocity and an evil out of racist motivations, you are delusional. What signs did we miss as it relates to this racist lunatic that went and killed these 9 innocent people?
The Sean Hannity Show, afternoons at 2, right before Michael Nedved at 5 on 660 AM. The Answer.
This is Hugh Hewitt for townhall.com. This last week, in an appearance on Face the Nation with new host John Dickerson, House Intelligence Chairman Devin Nunes told Dickerson that he believes, based on what he sees, and he sees about 99% of what the president sees, the U.S. is at greater risk of attack by foreign terrorists or the Islamic State sympathizers than at any time in our history, including the days before 9/11. The Democrats in Congress who are holding up the Department of Defense's appropriations bill have got to end their recklessness. The peril is too great. Senate Majority Leader McConnell must simply shut down the Senate until the Democrats do what is the first and most important job of the Congress, to protect and defend the United States. Put the final bill before the people and before the Senate, Mr. McConnell, and hammer every day at the fecklessness of those who refuse to protect the country. Accountability will follow, but only if clarity precedes it. These are dangerous times. Obstructionists cannot be allowed to continue to injure the nation's security. I'm Hugh Hewitt.
This townhall.com commentary is brought to you by the Salem Radio Network.
Dentist office, may I help you?
Hi, I'd like to cancel my teeth whitening appointment.
Oh, may I ask why?
I found a teeth whitener that works in 5 minutes that I can do from home.
Can I ask what it is?
It's called Power Swabs, and it whitens your teeth in 5 minutes, doesn't leave my teeth feeling sensitive, and it's a lot less expensive than visiting the dentist.
Hi, I'm John Greenhut, the CEO of Power Swabs. And if you want to whiten your teeth 2 shades in 5 minutes and 6 shades in 7 days, then try Power Swabs. There's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth and you're done. It removes stains on natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. Try Power Swabs risk-free by calling 1-800-281-4037. That's 1-800-281-4037. I guarantee your friends and coworkers will be wowed by your new white smile. Try it risk-free and get free shipping and handling today. Dial 1-800-281-4037. That's 1-800-281-4037.
We are visiting our friend Chef Tom Fleming at Crossroads Diner. What do you have cooking today, Tom?
Have you had a chicken piccata? Come on, say it with me. Piccata. Haven't heard of it? Sorry for you, bro. We pan-sear our own chicken and lemon and capers in a sauce so good, you want to swim in it. We call it the backstroke sauce. But the real stars of the dish are the herb-roasted Yukon potatoes. Trust me, you won't know what you want more of, the chicken or the tater.
Fresh ingredients sure to please any sophisticated palate and taste at affordable diner prices in a casual environment. Crossroads Diner. Come eat with us. We're off of Walnut Hill, just east of 75. Open for breakfast and lunch Tuesday through Sunday, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Or visit us on the web at crossroads-diner.com. Homestyle goodness meets traditional diner. Great recipes, fresh ingredients, comfortable environment, and genuine hospitality are the heart and soul of Crossroads Diner. We'll be waiting for you.
Call 267-8433 because the next best thing to do is Dalworth Clean.
Hi, Cheryl here for Dalworth Clean. You've been hearing the Dalworth jingle for almost 40 years. And when you hear it, you probably think carpet cleaning. But Dalworth offers so much more. Dalworth can clean and restore every type of flooring in your home, including those beautiful hardwood floors. Most wood floor care products leave a layer of acrylic wax that builds up over time, leaving your floor with a dull, often scruffy appearance. And they no longer clean up like they used to. Dalworth offers a wood floor revitalization process that can remove this buildup and return your floor to its original finish. This week, you can save $100 off 400 square feet or more of wood floor revitalization. So call Dalworth today and find out why it's really true. The next best thing to new is Dalworth Clean. Or visit us at dalworth.com, where you can make your appointment 24/7.
If you're retired or retiring soon, you cannot afford to miss the free Money Matters Retirement Seminar this coming Tuesday, June 30th at Hilton Garden Inn, Denton. Learn the best vehicle for fighting inflation, the 5 strategies you can use to reduce your income taxes, the best time to take Social Security, and most important, how to protect your retirement from the next market crash, plus so much more. Clients that followed Ken's advice were out of the market for 2008. Reserve now at moneymatters.net. That's moneymatters.net, or call 800-994-0302.
Dallas, Fort Worth's home for stimulating talk. 660 AM, The Answer. Now, a Texas radio tradition. The Friday Flameout on the Wells Report on 660 AM, The Answer.
That's the Friday Flameout, your opportunity to whine, moan, groan, complain, gripe, grouse, express your extreme displeasure with whatever it is that drove you the craziest this week. And you have a lot of material. You can even complain about me. 866-660-5759, 866-660-5759. Jon-David typed. You're listening to
We
the
have a
Wells
lot
Report.
to talk about this past 2 days.
Yeah, we do have a lot to talk about. So why don't you put on your headphones and talk about it?
I don't want to.
Nah, come on, man. You were so mad today. Golly, you showed up at the radio station and he goes, did you? I'm sitting there going, wow, man, you all right? You need a paper bag or something? Yeah. Hey, this is your opportunity to complain about anything you want to that happened this week that stuck in your craw or any other portion of your anatomy. You can complain about it unfettered. This is the closest thing we have to an open line segment on the Wells Report, because what I want you to do is I want you to blow off some steam, because steam is bad on the weekend. You want to de-steam yourself or de-steamify. As a matter of fact, I'm mystified that people don't de-steamify. It's just moving the syllables around a little bit. Anyway, this way you don't take out your annoyance on anyone that, say, for example, you might love. Okay? Like your cat. You know, you get upset. You see your cat looks up to you in that same insolent little whine that he always gives you, that meow, and poof, you kick him right in the cat patoot. He hates it. So go ahead and get that, divest yourself of your vexation. 866-660-5759, 866-660-5759. Yes, it is the Friday Flameout. And yes, by the way, you can complain about something that I may have said, because I don't want you to feel like you can't tell me that I'm foolish. Fullish, meaning that I occasionally spew things that are without merit. I mean, at least in your opinion. 866-660-5759, the Friday Flameout. I'll get you going. Adam Vaughn has noticed something that I've been talking about forever. I mean, forever. And that is this, that global warming has more to do with the sun's power and its movement through its cycle. The sun has a cycle. It lasts 11 years. And there are cycles within that cycle that last 11 years. So there are, very much like the tides, you know, there are high tides and then there are really high tides, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? Well, same thing with the sun. In this particular case, the sun is going through an amazing solar minimum. And it appears to be entering a weaker cycle, similar to the one that enabled frost to take place on the River Thames in the 17th and 18th century. You know, that medieval ice age that they talk about? Well, the study says that any potential weakening in solar activity would only have a small effect on temperature rises at a worldwide level. Actually, what it would do is it would stop them, right? The sun has been in a period of high activity for the past few decades, but scientists believe that there is now as much as a 20% chance of a weaker period of activity known as a grand solar minimum occurring in the next 40 years. So remember all those people back in the 70s saying that we were about to suffer an ice age? They may be correct. It's not global warming, it's global cooling. And there goes my hope for more halter tops, not less. Daniel from Mansfield, Texas. Welcome to the Wells Report, brother. How are you?
I'm doing well. One of the comments that you made, I need clarification on. You said that there was no difference between those men of the American Revolution and those Confederates.
Well, what I've often said is, what are the differences between the men who settled the United States and the men who tried to settle the Confederacy? I don't think there are any, insofar as they were both trying to do the same things. And they were also, by the way, both following more or less the same laws.
Well, actually, the biggest difference is, I think you may have missed it, that the men who settled America during the American Revolution time fought against the government they felt was oppressive, and they stated no taxation without representation.
Right.
Conversely, with the Civil War, those guys were represented. They had members in Congress, and they had the opportunity to vote for the president.
Well, yeah, except that they did not agree with what was going on in the Union. And in other words, the guys who were running the Confederacy, if you get beyond the specifics, they just wanted to break away from the Union. They wanted to form their own country, which is basically what happened with the settlers of the United States to begin with. See, that's what I was talking about. I mean, you're looking at this in a more granular way than I was. You know, yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about that, I mean, yeah, okay, there were a lot of different issues that had to do with the burgeoning United States splitting away from England. But the only one was not. I mean, there was more to it than no taxation without representation. There were a bunch of other things too. Same thing with the South.
But the point is, and this flag thing is really getting out of hand.
Yeah, it is.
But I don't understand it, because the point is this, JD.
Yeah.
Those guys should not be considered heroes. Those guys, in my opinion, were traitors. They had the opportunity to participate in the United States electoral process. They lost, and then they want to start a whole new country.
Now wait,
doesn't make sense to me.
Well, yeah, but let me say something to it. President Obama hit it perfectly today.
Okay.
Right. He said that he said that they fought. He said something that was really good. Let me see if I can get it exactly right. Hang on a second. We got time.
He said they fought, but they were wrong.
Well, and they were. And he was exactly right. They were not. What my issue with that is that those men were fighting for their country. They were not necessarily fighting for slavery, although arguably there were some that were. But,
let's
but like, for
let's do
example,
this.
let me give you an example. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. The guys who fought in Vietnam, right? Not all of them were fighting against the expansion of communism in the country. The domino theory, remember that?
Okay.
Okay, so a lot of those guys weren't fighting for them. They were fighting for their country and for their fellow soldiers. That's what I was focused on regarding those soldiers. Were they heroes? Some of them were. There are always heroes in every army everywhere. But
Okay,
go ahead.
This is my point I'm trying to make, and I need you to listen to me on this one.
I'm listening. I always
You
do.
say they were fighting for their country, but their country that they conceived was fighting against the United States.
Yes.
That's the whole point.
Right.
I can't look at any country who fights against the United States and then come back years later and say they are heroes. Those guys were not heroes, in my opinion.
There were, say, for example, okay, so talk to me about Japan.
What about Japan?
Well, Japan fought against us.
Exactly. And I would never fly a Japanese flag in the United States.
Well,
never.
Well, yeah. Okay.
I wouldn't fly a Mexican flag. I wouldn't fly any other flag than the Texas flag and the American flag. That's it.
Well, in the case of, but did you hear what I said about the? By the way, I think this is a superb Friday flameout. Okay, this is exactly what this is designed for. But let me ask you this. Okay, let me ask you this. Did you hear what I was saying about the flag itself and why I believed and why I defend people flying that flag?
JD, I'll say this. I heard you, and this is my opinion on it. If you want to buy your flag and put on your truck, put on your
you can.
put it on your put on your back.
Sure.
You want to put a headband on? That's cool. Do your thing. But my thing is, don't put that on a Capitol building or a government building, and then subjugate people to walk past it who feel strongly and differently about the flag.
This is the Friday flameout, so you get to win. I mean, I'm not. I mean, it's
about to have a conversation.
No, okay. Well, in that case, then let me say this. Look, I hear you. Okay, everything you're saying is true. Everything I'm saying is true.
Okay.
And that is the complexity of this entire issue. You know, you can't paint this. You cannot say that everything that is Confederate should be pushed away from American history. You can't get rid of Gone with the Wind. You can't do that.
You can't. You're right. I agree with you.
Okay, so but that's where this is going now.
And it shouldn't go that way. And last thing, before I got phone with you, this Supreme Court ruling, I agree with you guys on this, that the country has taken a turn. I'm not sure it's for the worse, but it doesn't sit well with me. But let me say this too, and I need you guys to hear me on this.
Yep.
I really feel like if 15, 12 years ago, when gays wanted to just have a civil union, that should have been granted. And people fought against that.
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to say who did that, but now, you know, we have a saying: if you give a person an inch, they want the whole mile, and they have taken the whole mile. And I wish that people would have compromised years ago. I really believe this wouldn't have been an issue today.
You know, I actually made that point earlier today.
I heard you. I heard you.
Yeah, and I think that what was and you're exactly right. I agree with you 100%. And I'll be honest with you. I think that there have been a lot of mistakes here, and I think that the United States. I think the Supreme Court of the United States made another one.
But I do feel like when it comes to religious freedom, they're gonna have to make a stand, because it's not gonna work if they allow, clergy and preachers to, make them perform religious ceremonies. That's not gonna work.
No, it's not.
Not gonna work.
No, it's not. And they've got to fix it. And I don't know. And I, like I said, how are you going to fix it without going through years and years and years of more litigation? I mean, this works beautifully for lawyers, but what about the society? You and I come from different backgrounds. We have different politics. But you listen to me and I listen to you. I mean, we have a friendship, and I truly like it. I look forward to you calling. You keep it real. You keep me honest. Not that I'm dishonest in any way, but but sometimes I miss stuff and you don't. And sometimes you miss stuff and I don't. But
Right.
this is the quintessential part of this nation that makes it so strong. And when one side decides to beat the other into silence, then the country suffers in an immeasurable way. And what the Supreme Court did today was they have built that in to the American experience now. It's built in.
Yep.
By the way,
I can't argue that.
By the way, one last thing. Did you hear Farrakhan? We're getting back to the flag thing. Did you hear Farrakhan?
Yes, I heard his comment.
Did you hear him say that we should do something about the American flag too? Because
I heard his comments.
Did you hear what I said about that?
No, I didn't hear it. What you said
Okay,
about that?
here's what I said about that. I said that slavery in the United States lasted for 85 years. Slavery in the Confederacy lasted 4. And we are doing our dead level best to throw away the Confederate. Actually, it's the flag of the Army of Northern Virginia. We're trying to throw that flag away. When I got to be honest with you, Farrakhan got that right. I hated his rhetoric. I mean, he's so divisive. He's so terrible. But on the other hand, you know, we need to point that out. Just to keep it real.
Yeah, but see, what the problem with that is, and this is me on my
I'm listening. I'm listening.
We have to have something to rally around, and that flag, the American flag, represents the good, the bad, and the ugly about this country. Guess what? That's our country.
Yep.
And we got to, you know, I'm gonna pledge allegiance to the American flag. I'm gonna honor the Texas flag, and those are only 2 flags I'm gonna recognize. So that's how I feel about that.
Daniel, you're awesome, man.
I try to be sometimes. I get it right here.
You're it. Yeah, you did. You sure have. You've done it this week, and I sincerely appreciate all the contributions you made to the show this week.
All right, enjoy your weekend.
You too, brother.
All right, take care.
See ya. One of the really good guys that calls this radio station, Daniel in Mansfield, Texas. You're listening to the Wells Report. The New York Times proved that it is so badly out of touch with reality that it has absolutely cashed in its flagging and tattered credibility yet again. I'll explain why I said that in just a couple of minutes. You're listening to the Wells Report. You have just a couple of seconds to get your complaint, whatever it might be, into the radio broadcast before we sign off for the week. 866-660-5759. You're listening to the Wells Report. This is 660 AM The Answer.
Are you ready to experience Israel?
Every once in a while, an opportunity to do something truly special comes along. An opportunity for an unforgettable and timely expedition to the land of Israel. This year, be a part of the Stand with Israel tour. Spend 9 days this fall in the fascinating and dramatic land of Israel with Mike Gallagher and Dennis Prager. Enjoy first-class accommodations and meals in comfort and safety. Visit 660amtheanswer.com for all the details and to register now. That's 660amtheanswer.com.
The Confederate flag is the time-worn symbol of Democrat politics. It's the Democrats who fought for slavery, but the media keeps asking the GOP candidates about it. And it's the Republicans who locked arms with President Obama to give him fast-track authority on the trade deal that the Democrats wouldn't give him. Truth seems lost in this mess. Who stands for what? This is Debbie Georgatis, and on Ladies Can We Talk truth about America and why it matters to you. Tune in every Sunday from 6 to 8 p.m. on 660 AM, The Answer.
This is Dan Tullis, and I just called Joel Clark, one of Select Quote Insurance Services' term life agents. Hi, Mr. Tullis. Joel, how does Select Quote save you money on term life insurance?
Well, buying term life insurance is all about choosing the right company. Let's say you take antidepressants or you smoke. All insurance companies are going to price that differently. We'll impartially shop all the companies we represent to find you the best price.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. I just got a man, 40 years old, on cholesterol medication, a $500,000 policy with a highly rated insurance company. His price, $22 a month.
Call 1-800-919-8949 and see how affordable term life insurance can be. That's 1-800-919-8949. 1-800-919-8949. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details on the example policy at selectco.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
When you pay your mobile phone bill, are you making a political statement? Probably so. You don't even know that it's politics you might not agree with. Hey, it's Mark Davis. Major mobile companies have given more than $50 million to liberal candidates and causes. Now there's a cellular company that gives 5% to conservative causes while still saving you money. Welcome to EOS Mobile. The same service, the same quality, a better price, and a better cause. Go to EOScell.com, EOSCELL.com. Meet a company that'll save you 10 to 15% on the same phone, data, and text plans. And their corporate contributions go to organizations and candidates for smaller government, a stronger America, and following the Constitution. Imagine that. And text and talk plans start at $9.99 with a free phone. Do you want part of your mobile phone bill to help Obama, Hillary, and that side of American politics? Great service, great prices, and support for conservative causes with EOS Mobile. Go to EOScell.com. That's EOSCELL.com. EOScell.com.
The Good Contractors List is a free service designed to protect you. We meet all of our home service contractors face to face and feel so confident in our final choices that we back their work with a $10,000 guarantee. We go the extra mile in our interview process to make sure that the contractor is not only honest in quality, but able to offer the most affordable and fair rates. For instance, how do you pick who you call for air conditioning? Did you know that the air conditioning industry is commonly known for misdiagnosis and unneeded upselling? The higher their overhead, the more money they need to stay in business. So they flash tempting offers to get their foot in the door, and the sales game is on. The air conditioning companies we choose are simply stable and proven companies that offer the highest quality at fair and honest rates. And to protect you, they've all agreed to do an absolutely free second opinion if you're being told that you have to replace your air conditioning unit. If you need AC or any other type of home service, visit thegoodcontractorslist.com first.
Contractors List. Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to begin? Do you fear your job is in jeopardy, or is your business income reduction keeping you awake at night? We're in the best time in 25 years to make a fortune in real estate without using your money or credit. My name is Ron LeGrand, and I've taught 500,000 people to do just that and personally bought hundreds of houses myself. If you'll call 800-865-3959, I'll send the first 500 callers my hot new CD, Foreclosure Fortunes, and my best-selling book to help you get started absolutely free. I'll show you how to build a six-figure income part-time with no previous experience and no license, even if you're a busy professional. Call 800-865-3959, 24 hours, and get my new book and CD free. That's 800-865-3959. Take your life back and make this your best year ever. That's 800-865-3959. Call 800-865-3959 now.
Learn a little something at the start of your day. The Mark Davis Show. Mornings 7 to 10 on 660 AM. The Answer. Now, by popular demand, The Wells Report with Jon-David Wells on 660 AM. The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is Jon-David Wells. It's the Friday Flame It. If you have something to complain about, you have to call me right now. 866-660-5759, 866-660-5759, because we only have about 1 minute and 30 seconds left in the broadcast for this week. And I will accede to your wishes to whine if you call right now. Otherwise, the New York Times sucks. There, I've said it. Here's why. A piece in the New York Times this week is trying to find some kind of moral equivalence to the homegrown murderers that live in this nation and ISIS-style extremist Muslim terrorists. Listen to this. This is what the New York Times actually reported. In the 14 years since al-Qaeda carried out attacks in New York and the Pentagon, extremists have regularly executed smaller lethal assaults in the U.S., explaining their motives in online manifestos or social media rants. But the breakdown of extremist ideologies behind those attacks may come as a surprise. Since September 11, 2001, nearly twice as many people have been killed by white supremacists, anti-government fanatics, and other non-Muslim extremists than by radical Muslims. Except, of course, the 3,000 people in 9/11. Idiots. The executive producer of the Wells Report is the beautiful Ms. Vicki Stifer, Technical Director, Conductor of the Wells Report Orchestra, Matt Swinney. My name is Jon-David Wells. Have a great weekend. See you Monday for another edition of the Wells Report.
Hi, this is Andy Tuttle, host of Tuttle Talk every Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer. We're in a real estate market where there's a lot of difficulty, but in difficulty, there's a lot of opportunity as well. Buying, selling, avoiding foreclosure, modifying your credit, all these things are so important to your livelihood. This show is dedicated to cutting through some of the big headlines that you see out there and teaching you how to win in any marketplace. Thank you for tuning in to Tuttle Talk every Sunday, 4 p.m. on 660 AM The Answer. I look forward to speaking with you.